I was incredibly worried about having to come out of my home, but I've had video consultations, I've had tests done and a face-to-face consultation now, all since lockdown. I feel very at ease and I can't praise the team enough. I mean, the hospital have been fantastic.
I was so impressed with the whole setup that I picked up one of those forms at the door as you go out, and I filled that in and gave it into them because I said, I think you're doing very well if this is the way you're running things now. I had to go to a waiting room in the MRI area. I mean, I couldn't have been safer, and I felt very much part of the process.
It's very well structured and I don't feel concerned for my safety here. I feel that everybody is doing everything they can to look after my needs. It's not overcrowded, it's not busy. It's just a very pleasant experience. It's not scary. It's very straightforward and it's incredibly thorough.
Yes, a very good afternoon and welcome to Trent Bridge Live for Vitality Blast action here as the Yorkshire Vikings make the short trip down the M1. Now, if you're watching this stream and maybe you're a T20 regular here at Trent Bridge, then everybody at the club is missing you and wishes that you could be here to support the lads. Or maybe you're watching this and you are looking forward to experiencing T20 for the very first time, then your support is very much appreciated. Now, let's give ourselves a little reminder of why we just enjoy the blast so much.
Well, it's that time again. Time for a bit of rock and roll. Wicket! Oh, have a look at that! Yeah, that's brilliant! What a catch! And boy, did they need that!
Well, this is punishing stuff from David Milan. He keeps going and going.
Oh, excellent catch! absolute beauty. That is magnificent.
Got to be quick here. Oh, brilliant world-class David Willey.
Oh, he's gone again. He's gone again, this time straight. Running round. Oh, that's incredible. What a catch. Huge wicket. That could be the game right there. He's got him. It's 7. Unbelievable.
Oh no! Would you believe it? It's the Eagles! Vitality Blast!
What a cracking summer we've had.
So we are about 10 minutes away from start of play here at Trent Bridge, and the news from the middle is that the Yorkshire Vikings have won the toss and they have elected to bat. So the Outlaws will be chasing the total later on. Now, if we have a look at the team for the Outlaws, then you'll see, if you were aware of the game against Durham 2 days ago, that the team is unchanged. So starting off, we have Alex Hales and Chris Nash, followed by Joe Clark, Ben Duckett, Tom Moores, Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney, Samit Patel, Luke Fletcher, Matt Carter and Jake Ball. So we are literally, as I say, just over 7 minutes away. Now, this is actually the third game of the campaign for both teams. They originally met up in Headingley on the first day, but unfortunately it was the weather that was victorious that day, both teams taking a point from the game. Nottinghamshire's second game was on Saturday, and that was up in Durham, and well, it was all about Joe Clark, wasn't it, really, with that fantastic 100 from the last ball there, and Notts win by 6 wickets. The Yorkshire Vikings faced the Derbyshire Falcons yesterday, and they were victorious by 99 runs. So both on equal standings, and obviously both will be looking to get the victory today. If you are watching this stream, then do let us know. Use the hashtag Outlaws, get in touch with us here, and we will try and obviously read out any sort of shouts out that you give as much as possible, and it really does help and support the lads as well. So it's now 5-2. I'll just recap the team one more time for you. As I say, Yorkshire won the toss and elected to bat. So we've just had a couple of the lads actually out on the field now, just obviously warming up bowling. They will be getting ready to come out in a couple of minutes. But the team for Notts once again is Chris Nash, Alex Hales, Joe Clark, Ben Duckett, Tom Moores, Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney, Samit Patel, Luke Fletcher, Jake Ball and Matt Carter. Now, if you are maybe new to T20, then that is what we've been given at the moment, but depending on gameplay, it can always change as well. So don't be alarmed if somebody comes out when they're maybe not meant to come out. As we are getting ready for live coverage, I will pass you over to our match coverage team, and very shortly you will hear the voice of Dave Bracegirdle.
Well, hello everybody, and a very good afternoon. Welcome to Trent Bridge on this Bank Holiday Monday for some T20 Vitality Blast action. Notts Outlaws playing their first home game in this year's competition after a fine win up at Durham on Saturday. Visitors today, the Yorkshire Vikings. They got up and running yesterday with a handsome home victory over Derbyshire. Of course, two sides should have met on Thursday evening, where we sat and watched it rain and rain and rain and rain, and no real surprise despite the presence of the television cameras that the match was called off around about 7:15. They decided they couldn't get a game in. News here, though, from the toss is that Yorkshire, the visitors, through their captain Tom Kohler-Cadmore, have won the toss, opted to bat first. Both sides unchanged from their weekend wins, so it will be Adam Lyth and Tom Kohler-Cadmore out there in the middle. Notts unchanged. First game here at Trent Bridge in this season's Blast, which means Alex Hales, Dan Christian. It's almost a year since the quarter-final here last year. 360 days since Notts beat Middlesex. Hales and Christian's last game here. I'm Dave Bracegirdle from Radio Nottingham, and delighted to say that having dodged the motorway traffic on his way down from Leeds, we've been joined by Jonathan Deutsch.
Yeah, I'm not sure Yorkshire's passage in this match, Brace, will be as smooth as mine was down the M1 this morning, because it was absolutely delightful for a bank holiday. No problems at all.
Unchanged, no surprise for Yorkshire. Joe Root playing?
Yeah, no surprises at all. I mean, Yorkshire obviously searching for a really good performance for some time and produced it yesterday, so why would you want to change that?
Looks as if we're going to have some twirly-whirly stuff to begin the contest. Not started with Samit Patel on Saturday. It's going to be Matt Carter today, the big tall off-spinner. He's going to be bowling from the pavilion end. I'll give you the two sides in full in just a moment, but it looks like we're going to get underway. Nick Cook and Ian Ramage are the umpires. Ian Ramage on the reserve list, getting a little bit of experience here as we start with Carter bowling to Kohler-Cadmore. Clips it away on the leg side. Samit Patel at square leg fields, and Yorkshire have a run on the board. So Notts are Chris Nash, Alex Hales, Joe Clark, Ben Duckett, Tom Moores, Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney, Samit Patel, Luke Fletcher, Matt Carter and Jake Ball. Adam Lyth is Kohler-Cadmore's opening partner. Played nicely by all accounts yesterday. Jonathan was there. I'm sure he'll tell us more about it as the game goes on. Lyth, good record here at Trent Bridge. He's on strike and slams this one away, and he'll get a boundary, cutting it just to the left of Samit Patel and to the right of Ben Duckett, and a shriek of music, if that's the right word. I don't think it is, but a blast of music out of the speakers here at Trent Bridge signals the first boundary. Yorkshire, Adam Lyth, Tom Kohler-Cadmore, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Will Frayne, who had a very brief time with Notts a couple of years ago, Johnny Tattersall, Jordan Thompson, Matt Fisher, George Hill, Matt Pillans and Josh Poisden. Ball number 3 is full and straight. Lyth went deep into his crease. We lost the sight of the ball. Obviously you can only see Tom Moores here playing in a very central strip right in front of us here, and somehow it just got wedged under Lyth, who's gone on the slog sweep here. He's taken the aerial route. Stephen Mullaney's after it, puts the slide in, and there'll be a couple more. So no real surprise that Yorkshire going after the runs in the early stages. They'll want to make the most of this power play. Notts will be desperate to part this pair and try and get rid of Joe Root early if they can. 7 without loss. Carter bowls. Slightly miscued there by Lyth, who was trying to clip it away towards mid-wicket, and the ball runs away on the offside. And there's no run. Seen James Taylor here, England's selector. A lot of players here that might potentially catch his eye. Next one's cut into the offside and no run. So 3 dot balls in the over. That boundary spoilt it a little bit, but Yorkshire up and running. There's 7 without loss, 6 of them to Lyth.
Yeah, and that was a good piece of bowling, the last delivery of the over. He saw Adam Lyth step back, and it was almost as if he changed his action, what he was going to do with the ball in mid-delivery. So intelligent bowling from Matt Carter, but not a bad start from a Yorkshire perspective. 7 without loss after the first, and these two have had a look at a few, particularly Adam Lyth. As Dave mentioned yesterday, Adam Lyth 61 for Yorkshire, who made 220 for 5 against Derbyshire, and he batted extremely well. Got away his favoured pull shot once or twice. He just felt a little bit more brutal than Joe Root's knock. Root piercing the gaps to great effect yesterday. So
just quickly, Jonathan, there's some breaking news. ECB have just announced their white ball squads to play Australia. Nobody in for Notts, but Yorkshire of interest here. In the T20 squad, 3 players, Adil Rashid, Johnny Bairstow and David Milan. In the ODI squad, also 3 players, Bairstow, Rashid and Joe Root. no David Milan in the ODI squad. So that's to play against Australia, I think, starting next weekend. Just breaking news, hot off the press from the ECB there, just announced. No Nottinghamshire interest. So if Alex Hales gets 150 today, it won't count.
So, first ball of the second over, and it was Jake Ball into Tom Kohler-Cadmo, who's got a couple here through the covers. Fielded out there on the boundary by Ben Duckett. 9 without loss. Kohler-Cadmo, who hasn't yet made a half century in the season, but of course had a great time of things. He was one of the few real success stories in T20 cricket for Yorkshire last year, over 400 runs at 60 plus. Here's Ball again, wide of off stump. Kohler-Cadmo on the drive, will pick up one out there to Duckett once more.
Seen much shorter boundaries here at Trent Bridge for blast matches. Very often, of course, when the TV cameras are here, they'll bring the ropes in quite a bit. They are
pretty big.
Pushed, they could be a little bit bigger. You can walk around the boundary rope and still be on grass, but I have seen them compressed rather more when they put the speakers and the fireworks and the TV cameras and what have you all around the ground. So not quite as small as normal. Both sides, plenty of sixes between them in their weekend victories. Notts at Chesterley Street and Yorkshire at home yesterday.
Here's a man who hit a few of those himself. Adam Lyth on strike then. Here's Jake Ball to the left-handed Lyth, who tries to lever this one out of the park. Doesn't quite catch it as he'd like to. Dan Christian is round to field from mid-on, and they have to settle for one. The non-on-field players for Yorkshire down at the pavilion end of the ground, sitting beneath the scoreboard. And, well, I think you'd probably call it just about social distancing down there, although they're part of a bubble anyway. Spaced out on the bench and the foot of the Smith Cooper stand. Here's Ball to Kohler-Cadmo, who works it nicely off his hip, but there's a man out sweeping on the mid-wicket boundary. That is Joe Clark. Tremendous form with the bat across the weekend, of course.
It's interesting that Notts have just gone with a boundary rider on each side, isn't it? Very often you'll have somebody straight or somebody at deep mid-wicket. Just one on each side.
Which suggests as well, lengthwise, Jake Ball's just going to be trying to hit back of a length, short of a length. Doesn't want to give too much on the drive because he'd want a couple of men a bit deeper straight. Adam Lyth tries to scythe this one backward of Samit Patel at point, but can't get any bat on it. 12 and out loss then. Lyth on 7, Kohler-Cadmo on 5. 1 left in the second over.
The Nottinghamshire gold shirts this year, they do look a little golder than they have been before. There's a real contrast between them, of course, and the yellow of Yorkshire, but it does make them look a really deep gold colour. Either that or perhaps it's because they're still relatively new, haven't been washed a few times, but the gold and green of Notts, the yellow and blue of Yorkshire.
Here comes Ball again, right arm over, and Lyth, front foot off the deck, whips that backward of square, but again, good piece of fielding by Duckett. He was round quickly from his point out on the boundary, so they kept him to 1 again. 13 without loss after 2.
A decent over from Jake Ball. You'd always take that, just run a ball from the over. 7 from Matt Carter's first, 6 from Jake Ball's second. We saw Notts for the first 15 overs or so on Saturday just flick it around, no bowler getting the opportunity for back-to-back overs, and then Stephen Mullane had a really good over, and he ended up getting 3 in a row towards the back end of the Durham innings. Adam Lyth's going to be on strike. I think it's going to be Luke Fletcher, who returned to action at Chesterley Street, got a wicket with his 4th ball back, but did go for a few after then. Graham Clark hit him for one of the biggest sixes I'm sure we'll see in the Blast this year. Landed right on top of the county stand at Durham. So Fletcher from the pavilion end. Only 2 men still, of course, outside the circle. Joe Clark on the leg side to Lyth. Bridgeford Road side of the ground. Here comes Luke Fletcher. Nick Cook is the umpire And the first ball sees the left-hander come down the ground and drill it long. One bounce over the ropes for 4. And it was only just short of the rope, wasn't it?
Yep, he used his feet well, didn't he? He decided, obviously, he was going to be positive against Luke Fletcher, trying to maybe just unsettle him before he manages to settle in and bowl how he wants to bowl. And yeah, nicely played, lofted drive by Adam Lyth.
Notts have had the better of recent meetings. In fact, they've got an overall better record against Yorkshire. 19 wins to 10. That's Fletcher trying to do a little better here. But Lyth has got hold of this one and he's hit it away on the leg side. And that will go again just inches short of the rope. Joe Clark's out there and he signalled straight away it was 4, but it needed signalling. It was so close to the rope, and Luke Fletcher has gone the distance here twice by Adam Lyth. The left-hander just inches short on both occasions of getting maximums. There's been a number of washouts in recent years, the matches at Headingley, but the last 4 completed matches have all gone the way of Notts. 21 without loss. 2 men now on the leg side as Fletcher brings Duckerton onto the offside. This has tickled down the leg side. That's well stopped by Matt Carter. Let's have a look at Nick Cook. Yes, a tap of the knee, so a leg by. The pain hasn't totally disappeared for Luke Fletcher because Cola Cadmore, I'm sure, will also try and impose himself on the 6'6" Bulwell bomber.
Said this yesterday, Brace, and I think we were pretty much agreed before play started today. It's the top 4, top 5 in each team very strong if they come off.
22 without loss. Totally agree. Clipped onto the leg side by Cola Cadmore. Gets a single. 23 without loss. Cola Cadmore winning the toss, opting to bat first. So Yorkshire looking to go big as they did yesterday. They got over 200, 220 wasn't it, against Derbyshire, and that sort of imposing score is always going to create problems in the side that's chasing. I think Notts would happily walk off now if they could keep Yorkshire under 170, but in reality they're probably going to be chasing something north of that. This one slammed away by Lyth, up and over. 3rd boundary of this Fletcher over. Adam Lyth very much in the zone. He's on 20 already off 12 balls, 27 without loss. No Harry Gurney, of course, for Notts, just to mix it up a little bit. So used to seeing him bowling 1 or 2 overs in the initial power play and then coming back to bowl overs 18 and 20 as he did last year here against Yorkshire. A narrow game which Notts won by 3 runs. But Luke Fletcher's the one they're targeting. Lyth has 20. Fletcher bowls to him. Clipped away on the leg side. Lyth, I think, will settle for 1 to keep strike. He will indeed. So a very positive over for Yorkshire. 15 from it here on BBC leads all the Yorkshire stations. BBC Radio Nottingham. Yorkshire 28 without loss after 3 overs. I'm Dave Bracegirdle and here's Jonathan Doidge.
Yeah, good over from a Yorkshire perspective. 15 from it. Not the best of starts from Luke Fletcher. That last boundary by Adam Lyth was probably the worst ball of the over, to be fair. Short and gave him some room. And he is playing well. He got 100 in a warm-up game in red ball cricket, Adam Lyth against Lancashire, and then wasn't kind of backing that up. Looking good out there in the middle, but not producing the scores, and then came up with 100, of course, in the recent 4-day match at Headingley. Before that, 60 yesterday, a 15th T20 half-century for him yesterday. And he's on strike here to face Matt Carter, who's coming back on from this Radcliffe Road end. So what have we got field-wise? He sent 2 men out on the leg side to Adam Lyth. One at straight mid-wicket, cow corner if you like, and the other one backward off square leg, but not brought into play here because that's pushed out into the offside by Lyth and there's no run.
It's interesting, the off-spinner, because naturally the one that turns is going away from the left-hander, but he's not got any protection on that offside.
Here he comes again. This one is leg side-ish and worked that way, helped on its way by Lyth for a single. Good bowler Matt Carter from what I've seen of him so far anyway. Certainly showed up well in the red ball game here.
got the man of the match award in this game last year without taking a wicket. 4 overs, none for 12. Quite extraordinary for somebody to do that, but it put the brakes on Yorkshire at a crucial time.
Just looks like a thinking cricketer. So he's posted the man now back on the mid-wicket boundary to the right-handed Kohler Cadmore, who's going to be stumped here. And there you go, further evidence of Matt Carter's skill. He thought about what he was going to do there, saw Tom Kohler Cadmore advancing down the wicket and threw it just a little bit too wide for him. And that was meat and drink to a keeper of Tom Moore's capabilities. And Yorkshire have lost their first wicket then, 29 for 1.
Yeah, a little bit self-inflicted. Tom Kohler Cadmore quickly out of the blocks, charging down towards Matt Carter, trying to just work the ball away, no doubt looking to get his in-form opening partner back on strike, but he was done by the one that just went straight on, and as Jonathan said, he was absolutely stranded yards down. An easy stumping for Tom Moores, and Notts have just arrested the Yorkshire momentum for a moment. 29 for 1 as the England Test skipper makes his way out to the middle.
Good piece of bowling, and well, the fielding side going to be buoyed by that. Joe Root, though, seemed to really good effect yesterday. I mentioned that placement, finding the gaps. So many times when you play cricket, even if you've never played it before in your life, as a listener, you'll know that the batsmen walk out to the middle, they have a look around the pitch. If you have played it, you've probably gone there and done it yourself, where you look around and see where the fielders are. Are you looking for the fielders? Are you looking for the gaps? Not sure which way around it is for Joe Root, but he certainly found the gaps plenty yesterday. He was dropped a rocket of a shot before he finally got out, and really his out shot was straight to the man, but other than that, he was splitting the gaps superbly, and there's just a real feeling of authority in his play yesterday. We'll see if he can replicate that today. Just 3.5 overs into this one, 29 for 1. Root on strike. Here's Carter into him, and he's flicked that into the leg side and was keener on taking a single than Adam Lyth, who was still pretty much resting on his bat at the non-striking end. Lyth on 22. Root then, having faced just the one yet to get off the mark. Reverse sweep comes out, second ball low, and he's going to get 4. Backward of point to the right-hander, or backward of square leg to the lefty, whichever way you choose for a reverse sweep. He's on to 4, 33 for 1.
Yes, not taking any real time to have a little look at Matt Carter there. Second ball he's faced, bringing the reverse sweep out. Often see Ben Duckett doing that. Just sort of wonder why they don't just give themselves a little moment, but that was superbly played.
Here's Carter again, and Root back and pushes back to the bowler, no run. End of the over then, and Root on 4, Lyth 22. 4 gone, Yorkshire 33 for 1.
2 overs then for Matt Carter, 1 for 12. This is if Dan Christian is going to bowl the 5th over. So again, the Outlaws captain just ringing the changes. Lyth has 22 from 15 balls. Joe Root 4 from 3. It's been incredibly frustrating to the people outside the ground to hear the music. Not able to peep in because there's 1 or 2 walking past, just trying to peer through the gates. That little gap between the Smith Cooper stand and the William Clark stand. Might just have caught the odd glimpse of a Nottinghamshire fielder.
It's just the odd window round on the periphery that might catch a better glimpse. Maybe some enterprising locals might have rented the room out for a few quid for the afternoon.
Well, it's not going to be Christian. He did have the ball and he was down at the far end, but it's going to be Jake Ball to have another one. A little bit of a change of plan. Ball comes in, bowls, and hit down the ground again by Lyth. Minimal back lift, and just lofted that one onto the green rather than blazing it down the fairway. He's got a couple of runs, just chipped it really back over the bowler. Christian then will come to this end and bowl the final over of the power play. This is the 5th over, 35 for 1. Yorkshire winning the toss, opting to bat first. Both sides with 3 points from the first 2 games. Here's ball into the left-handed Lyth, who backs away, chops it into the offside. They'll have to run quickly. The shy at the stumps is narrowly wide from Ben Duckett. And from the oohs and ahs, Nick Cook, the umpire, in a good position to see. And he's going over now, he's having a word with Ben Duckett there, as if to say, that was close, young man.
That was very close, wasn't it? I think direct hit. He's probably continuing his run down to the changing rooms, Adam Lyth. Certainly would have been a few extra palpitations as he got towards the far end, the pavilion end of the ground.
Cook just given Joe Root his guard. Root has 4 in the face. Jake Ball for the first time. 36 for 1. Here is Ball bowling. Nice looking shot from Root into the offside, but he'll only get a single for it. Christian doing the covering work there as the ball blazed past Chris Nash. Nash, who took an absolute stunner of a catch at Chesterley Street on Saturday, a diving one-handed effort of the highest order.
Saw a couple of those at Headingley actually yesterday. Billy Godleman took an absolute screamer, and Jordan Thompson for Yorkshire.
37 for 1. Lyth back on strike. He's got a start here. He's on 25. Jake Ball bowling to him. Comes down the track and gets it away through the offside. Penetrates that ring and gets 4 more. Just a pleasing push from the batsman's perspective. Enough pace on the ball from Jake Ball, and he just angled it away between backward point and the cover fielder, Ben Duckett.
He's certainly more mobile in the crease, Adam Lyth, in white ball cricket than he is in red ball. Just using half stride to come down.
Vikings 41 for 1. Ball in again to Lyth. This one's thudded into his pad, and Joe Root scampers down to this end, getting the leg by. Every run counts, of course. 42 for 1. 1 ball left in the 5th. Yorkshire will be looking for a push, I'm sure, in the 6th over, get it up to 60 or 65 or so. That's sort of a benchmark, if you like, for a passable power play for most of the top sides. Final ball of Jake Ball's over. Still to come Harry Brook and Will Frayne. Frayne batting nicely yesterday. Ball in and clipped away on the leg side by Joe Root behind square. I wonder if they'll think about it, or they might have thought about it, but Duckett had the ball in the air, and that's nicely in. So 10 from that over. The second bowl by Jake Ball. He's gone for 15 from his 2 overs. The Vikings are 43 for 1 after 5 overs. And it's not going to be Christian, it's going to be Luke Fletcher to bowl the 6th over. He went for 15 runs in his first over, Luke Fletcher. Needs a fancy to just drag his figures back a little bit in this, the 6th over. Dan Christian's having a word. Alex Hales at mid-off, we've not mentioned him yet. He's also having a word. Nice to see Hales in a cap. He wore a beanie hat at Chesterley Street on Saturday, and I don't blame him. He might even have gone out there with a duvet and a blanket. It was absolutely bitter.
Yeah, it's been like that, hasn't it? Just about everywhere in the last week, 10 days or so. Quite mild down here today, but happy to see the sun shining. So Luke Fletcher from this Radcliffe Road end to the right-handed Joe Root, just outside off stump, but punched wide of mid-on. There's a chase on here for Alex Hales, and he pulls it up inside the rope. They get back for 2.
It's a stylish cricket shot, that, wasn't it, really? No slogging, no hitting across the line, just pushed it in the gap.
And that was a feature yesterday. We talked about the splitting of the gaps, but also the fact that not that many of Joe Root's shots looked like obvious T20 shots, really. They looked a little bit more orthodox. Here's Luke Fletcher again. Again wide of off stump, and this time Root opens the face, tries to get it away backward of point, but Samit Patel was right in the firing line and keeps them to a dot. And every single one of those is going to be invaluable, you would have thought. Yorkshire was 63 for 1 at the end of the power play against Derbyshire yesterday, so they're behind that sort of score. But I don't think either side at the moment are going to be too unhappy with things. Yorkshire have got plenty of wickets in the 10. Notts, it's not been too bad a start. Here's Fletcher in again, and Root runs this one down to third man, and throw comes in. I think it was Matt Carter. Just missed the stumps. Would have been tight the far end for Adam Lyth. Not a bad piece of fielding, but one of those where, because Tom Moores was standing so far back, he had to have a shy or just keep hold of the ball, didn't he?
Well, they did the best thing. If he couldn't hit the stumps, he hit the batsman, Adam Lyth, and occasionally, like in the World Cup final last year, one will ricochet away for a boundary, but more often than not, if you hit the batsman, the common courtesy is you don't run for an overthrow.
Yeah. So Lyth back on strike. 2 men get sent out into the deep on the leg side. Mulaney at deep backward square, duck it through mid-wicket. Here's Fletcher round the wicket, and Adam Lyth, who steps away to leg, then has to almost throw a set of step ladders across to get at that one.
It's a case of guessing and second guessing, wasn't it? And Fletcher won that little duel.
And that's what I say about Adam Lyth in white ball cricket. He's certainly much more mobile at the crease. He's done that a few times at both ends, just a slight step away. That one was a little bit more exaggerated, in fact. So a good piece of bowling from Fletcher. Dot ball, 2 left in the 6th. Here he is again, round the wicket now. Then this time Adam Lyth has got this away. Stephen Mulaney's jumped and got a hand on it, but it was, well, he's not the tallest of men, is he? And it would have been a brilliant one-handed catch had he taken it. In the end, though, it's a maximum for Adam Lyth, who moves on to 35 now from 21 deliveries, and Yorkshire have got 50 up, 52 for 1.
Just fancied Mulaney there when it was in the air. You could see he was just assessing everything, where the rope was. Obviously following the flight of the ball, he leapt with it, but just needed to be 2 or 3 inches taller.
Last ball of the power play then. Fletcher in. Lyth makes some room this time and plays it out backward a point. Patel, though, can't take it cleanly, and so they get through in the end for a comfortable one. Although Lyth signalling to Root at the end of it, suggesting that he'd left him with a tight one again. So 6 gone, power play done. Yorkshire, I think they'll be happy enough at 53 for 1 with wickets in the 10.
Like you say, I think both camps will take something from that. 53 for 1 could have been so much worse. Notts can have a little bit of protection now. Let's just keep 4 fielders in the ring at least. So undoubtedly they will spread 5 near and far. And Yorkshire, as you say, they know they've got 2 high-quality players who are in. They're just seeing it nicely, and they've got still time to build before the assault comes. Some other games going on very quickly at the halfway stage at New Road. Worcestershire, Gloucestershire 197 for 3 from their 20 overs, 60 for Chris Dent. A match at Headingley. Funnily enough, Leicestershire Foxes, they're just in the final over now. They're 172 for 5 against Durham, and tonight also in the North Group at Headingley. After that one's finished, Derbyshire will play Lancashire there, so the table should be interesting this evening as Christian bowls. This one's hit down the ground, clothed it a little bit. They'll just get 1, didn't properly get hold of it, and that's good work again by Mulaney, who'd been dispatched to the long-on boundary. So Dan Christian into the attack. He's the 4th bowler to be used. We could still see Mulaney and Patel, or more probably both at some point. 54 for 1. Jet Root's taking a fresh guard here from umpire Cook. Root has 9 from 8. Joe Root, the brother of Billy, of course, who used to be here on the staff at Notts, now at Glamorgan. Adam Lyth at the other end on 37 from 23. Here is the Australian, Dan Christian, bowling, hit away for 4. Beautiful cricket shot from Root through extra cover. Pierced that gap just to the right of Chris Nash. Mulaney's too straight to have any influence on that one. All going for another boundary to Joe Root, is on 13, 58 for 1. The men out for Notts, 3 on the leg side, and obviously 2 on the off, 1 at the third man and 1 on the cover boundary. Next ball just run down towards third man. Down here is Luke Fletcher, gets to it quickly, one-handed pick up and return, and it's just a single. Just get the ball in the air quickly. 59 for 1. So now to the left-handed Lyth. What are we going to get? Again, 3 on the leg side. Joe Clark disappears out to the deep mid-wicket boundary. There's nobody saving 1 on the leg side apart from Luke Fletcher, who's at short fine. Will Lyth try and take him on? Christian round the wicket, chopped to backward point. Samit Patel, if he hits, he's gone. Just narrowly misses. Joe Root dived. He was starting his dive from quite some way out, in truth. I think Joe Root always knew it was only going to be the dive that would save him. In the end, it was just the narrowness of Samit Patel's miss that saved him.
Adam Peaty would have been proud of that dive, I think, to get him going in an Olympic swimming final. Good effort from Samit Patel. That's a couple of run-out attempts that haven't gone Knott's way. Ben Duckett narrowly missed. Fine margins in this game. Yep. Root is on 14, back on strike. Christian bowls to him, short, pulled away for 4. Too short from Dan Christian. It enabled Joe Root, who was I think already moving across his stumps, just to pull it away towards the long leg area. Matt Carter was up inside the ring fairly fine, and once he was beaten, and in truth he had no chance, there was nothing else to stop the ball just zipping over the outfield for 4, and Root is on to 18, 64 for 1. Knott's need a wicket. Played it well, good execution, wasn't it? Christian pulled the final ball of an over that's already cost 11. Probably just 1 here. It is indeed just dropped on the leg side by Joe Root. BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC Radio Leeds, all the Yorkshire stations at Trent Bridge for this blast game between the Outlaws and the Vikings. And the visitors are 65 for 1 after 7 overs, after they won the toss and opted to bat first. Yep, so pretty much, again, in relation to yesterday, about an over, if you like, have been taken out of the Yorkshire momentum by Nottinghamshire's bowling today. So can't be too unhappy with that, but I'm sure they'd like to just stem the flow a little bit here by taking a wicket. Just make the Yorkshire batsmen have to think about it a bit more. Samit Patel coming into the attack then for the first time today at this Radcliffe Road end. And well, what an amazing amount of experience this man has got in cricket, but in this form of the game in particular. Yeah. Nobody's played more games in this particular competition. This is his 182nd. I think he's 5 clear of James Hildreth now. Here he is, left arm around the wicket then. Root gets the hurry up on, having pushed that one to mid-off, takes on Christian's arm, and on this occasion he looked like he was going to be just about comfortably home. Ball missed as well. So single to Root, who's accumulated 20 from 13 so far. Samit's also the second leading wicket taker in domestic T20 behind Danny Briggs. He's about half a dozen wickets behind the Sussex spinner, and he's 7th in the all-time batting list. So fairly useful player. Yeah, he's right up there. Obviously, he did play in the first season back in 2003, and has been involved ever since. In he comes then, left arm around. Adam Lyth has got this one away though for 4 runs, just in front of square. Big gap, 2 men out back out there, but there must be 40 yards between them, so as long as you can get enough power with the bottom hand, the shot is on, and very much so then for Lyth. And of course, the way Samit Patel is bowling, if that was a regulation left arm spinner, then effectively as an off spinner would to the left-hander. So 42 for Adam Lyth from 25. Yorkshire building quite nicely. 70 for 1. Patel in again. Lyth steps away this time, and he's going to get a maximum this time. Yep, stepped away to leg, and Patel dropped the ball there kindly enough for him. And that was effortless, really, from Adam Lyth. Didn't seem to give it a particularly large amount of bottom hand, and it cleared the ropes quite comfortably away at the U Energy Stand side of the ground. 76 for 1. First 6 of the contest. There's been a couple that have just fallen short. He's looking dangerous now. Patel in, And Lythe gets this one away, backward off square with the reverse sweep this time, and comes to celebrate 50 with his partner Joe Root. 52 to Adam Lythe, successive half centuries then. It's taken him 33 minutes, 27 deliveries, 7 fours and 2 sixes now. And the partnership also is worth 51 from 25 deliveries. Excellent partnership from Yorkshire. 16th T20 half century now for Adam Lythe.
Yeah, of course, he pulled Luke Fletcher for a 6 earlier, didn't he? I just said that was the first 6, it's the second.
That was the Mullaney one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He parried over the bar.
Yeah.
Next one turned then out into the leg side. Ben Duckett coming in off the mid-wicket boundary to field, and they happy to settle for 1.
Expensive over this from Samet. Already gone for 16, there's 1 ball left. Yorkshire on course for 200 here at the moment.
So in comes Patel to Root. Full length delivery, whipped into the leg side. He's going to pick up a single out there to Joe Clark. 82 for 1 at the end of the 8th. 17 from that over.
Yeah, pace off the ball didn't have any influence there. Christian again, I think. The skipper's got the ball at the far end. Just having a word with Chris Nash. Chance to towel off and refresh for Adam Lythe, who's taken his helmet off. Joe Root doesn't, but I think Root has changed gloves. 82 for 1. The man out, Tom Kohler-Cadmore, the Yorkshire skipper, in the 4th over, came charging towards Matt Carter, and once he was beaten by the flight, was stumped by Tom Moores for 6. In fact, it's going to be Stephen Mullaney after all that. So Mullaney to bowl his first of the afternoon. 82 for 1. Bowling to Root, who goes for the scoop, just gets a little bit of bat on it and then take the single. He took the pace off it really as it just trickled to Luke Fletcher on the discs at third man. 83 for 1. Root on 22 from 15. Lythe on 53 from 26. And they've added 54 now as well. The 50 partnership coming and going in an instant. Adam Lythe, who has the highest score in domestic T20 cricket, a knock of 161 against Northants 3 years ago. Mullaney to bowl to him. This one's hit. Cries of catch it, it's gone up in the air. Now this should be an opportunity for Dan Christian, and he takes it and Lythe's gone. Well judged by Christian. Stephen Mullaney, as he so often does, comes on and gets a really important wicket. That's well battered from Adam Lythe, but that 54-run partnership comes to an end with Dan Christian taking a catch, running round from the long-on boundary. Lythe's figures 29 balls faced. 7 fours and 2 sixes, and Stephen Mullaney has his man. Lythe out for 53, and the wicket coming in the 9th over.
Yeah, super knock from a Yorkshire perspective then for Adam Lythe. Played some cracking shots, kept the scoreboard ticking when the boundaries weren't there, and just the sort of partnership that Yorkshire have been lacking on a consistent basis in recent times. So nice to see a little bit of consistency over the last couple of days in that respect. Can Harry Brook continue that momentum which has been building in the visitors' favour and just in recent last couple of overs?
He knew he hadn't got it, didn't he?
Yeah.
There's cries of catch immediately from all the Notts team. Obviously Mullaney taking pace off the ball. Lythe gone for the big hit, but it went straight up. Still carried quite a long way, and Dan Christian had to judge it nicely, but the Australian big hands, safe hands, was never going to drop that one. They crossed. Root on strike. Mullaney into bowl to Joe Root, who came out of his crease there. One of the first times he's really come charging towards the bowler, clips it out onto the leg side for a single. New man is Harry Brook, one of a number of young, exciting players that Yorkshire are bringing through, and straight away Tom Moores decides he's going to stand up to the stumps. Must have seen where Brook took guard, or the speed that Mulaney's pushing it through, but he's come up to the stumps as Mulaney bowls. Brook is away first ball, clipping it out onto the leg side. 85 for 2. Yorkshire, who won the toss, opted to bat first in a match that, at least for the time being, we'll see the winner go to the top of the group.
Played quite nicely yesterday, Harry Brook, for 23.
85 for 2. Mulaney now to bowl to Root, who's on 23 from 16 balls faced. Just pushes this one out onto the onside for another single. Mulaney, real reputation as a bit of a strangler, ties things up in the middle overs. For many years it was Mulaney and Patel coming on to bowl in tandem after the 6-over power play. You'd often see them bowl 8 overs together. Mulaney 4 from one end, Patel 4 from the other, absolutely squeezing the life out of the opposition. It's not necessarily happened like that under the Christian captaincy, because he likes to rotate things a little easier. Another single taken here, and that's the end of that over. 87 for 2. So Stephen Mulaney coming on, getting a wicket, just 5 runs from it, and after 9 overs, the Vikings with new man Harry Brook on 2, Joe Root on 24, 87 for 2.
Yeah, good over from a Nottinghamshire perspective, certainly. Just the 5, as you say, from it, and a wicket, and that just always checks the momentum of a batting side, doesn't it? Samit Patel's going to continue from the Radcliffe Road end of the ground then. Harry Brook on strike. Harry Brook, exciting player to watch in whatever form of cricket you see him. If he hangs around for a while, then there should be a few fireworks, but Samit Patel will be trying to dampen that one, and can't do so on this first delivery where he crashes into Joe Root trying to field that off his own bowling. Harry Brook with a back foot straight drive, picks up a single.
Wonder if it had given him Patel another over if Lyth had still been there. Because Lyth really got after him in the previous over.
2 right-handers out there at the moment. Here's one of them, Root, and that's 4. Through mid-wicket, delightful shot again from Joe Root. Just so much time to play that, to get into the right position. And when I talked about yesterday's knock, not quite looking like a T20 knock really in terms of the shots he was playing. That's just a regulation controlled pull in front of square for 4.
It was just too short from Samit Patel. Batsman of Joe Root's quality, wasn't never going to really miss out on that, was it?
So 28 to him, 92 for 2. Patel in again. This time Root tries to get it away finer, and does. Did he get some bat on it, or glove perhaps? Just waiting for a signal. No signal, so yep, single to Root. Luke Fletcher doing the fielding, 29 to Root, 93 for 2. And Brook back on strike. Patel quickly in again. Brook using his feet well, feature of his play. And picks up a single out to Joe Clark, who's coming in off the boundary at a straight mid-wicket position. Brook on to 4 from as many balls, 94 for 2. Sun in at the moment. As Patel is bowling to Root, who chips it away backward of square. Didn't catch it quite how he wanted to. Good piece of fielding as well, keeps them to 1, because that's just about the shortest boundary on the ground.
Jake Ball out there, it really was good work. I didn't give him much of a prayer. Did really well to get there and stop it going over the rope.
Brook waits, wide of off stump. Patel goes this time, and it's smashed straight along the ground to Dan Christian, who makes a little bit of a fumble, throws the disc away behind him, and really, it's a little bit petulant, wasn't it? They get a single from it, but the disc has ended up some 35-40 metres from where he collided with it as he went down and picked up the ball. Threw it away in frustration, I think, following the fumble. So 96 for 2 at the end of the 10th.
Yeah, halfway stage, Yorkshire on course for top side of 200, but Notts could peg it back if they can break this partnership and then get stuck into the middle order. Will Frayne doing next? 40 odd in next to no time yesterday. Here's Mulaney, comes in and bowls, and Brook hits it down the ground. I think they'll only get a single. Well, indeed, Alex Hale's in from long on, keeps them to 1. 97 for 2. No crowd in, of course, different dynamic from all the previous Blast games we've seen here over the years at Trent Bridge, where the crowd have really played an influence. There's Mullaney in, bowls, again Joe Root times it nicely. They've run the first one quickly here, and they were 2 or 3 yards each into setting off for a second before common sense prevailed. Good work from Duckett out there, keeps them to 1.
It was an excellent piece of work, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was indeed. All the players this week have been talking about how much they'll miss the home support, miss the fans here at Trent Bridge, getting them through the tricky times. Single clipped away this time by Brook. 3 balls in this over, 3 singles taken, 99 for 2 Yorkshire.
And this is that danger period from a Yorkshire batting perspective that so many times last season they might get off to a reasonably good start in your games, but then a loss of momentum. So can they keep it going?
Mullaney to Root, who's on 31 now. Make that 32 at least. They might just fancy the second here. They don't. Again, Duckett gets to it. I think top side of the 15th over that have gone for 2 there.
Yeah, I think they're timing it quite nicely, and it's unfortunate for them that they are, because if they'd have left those last couple of shots just 10 metres short, then they'd probably got back for comfortable 2s.
Duckett had to move a long way to that one. Here's Mullaney into Brook, who's hit this one past the bowler. Again, it'll only be a single. Notts will be happy that the ones are coming here rather than the boundaries. A little bit of a chat there. Luke Fletcher suggesting an alteration to the leg side fence. Not sure what came of it. Here's Mullaney into bowl to Joe Root, who slashes it away to backward point. This will go for 4. That's the one that Mullaney didn't want at the end of the over. Loosish ball which has been cut away. The Vikings 100 had come up, by the way, just before then, so it's 105 for 2 at the end of the 11th, and what was a very good over from Stephen Mullaney in the end cost 9 runs. Mullaney's figures 2 overs, 1 for 14, as once again we see 12th men, sanitisers and what have you being brought out there. I think Matt Carter's been given the ball for this 12th over, 105 for 2. Wickets to Carter and Mullaney. The Notts really need Joe Root out. The England Test captain is on 36 from 23 balls faced.
Yeah, and still got plenty of time to put up a real match, well, you can't say match winning performance just yet, but a real telling performance with the bat for Yorkshire. Here's a real good shot from Harry Brook, and that's going to rattle into the board in the Smith Cooper stand for a 6 backward of square. Beautiful sweep shot, takes him on to 14, a first maximum in the match for him, and 111 for 2 then Yorkshire. 1 ball into the 12th. Carter in again, this time alters the line intelligently, and Brook just pushes it up to long off for the single. He's already done some damage with the first ball. No need to do anything stupid. 7 off 2 in the over, brings Root back onto strike. Now then, this should be a good contest. Matt Carter round the wicket to Joe Root, who's happy to step back and just nudge this into the yawning gap on the leg side with the field set back. They get 1 easily, and in the end, Joe Clark, I think it is, in off the boundary quickly prevents the 2.
Been interesting if they had gone for the second, because Samit Patel had found himself as emergency wicketkeeper. Tom Moores had gone racing after the ball, but Samit had done the right thing. He'd got in to get up to the stumps to take any potential return, but had it been fizzed in hard at him, it would have been interesting.
Carter again, number 20 on his back. That's a straight drive off the back foot this time from Harry Brook. Carter did well, got something on it, and that has stopped what could well have been a 4 beneath our commentary position. He gave it plenty of power, did Harry Brook, just gets a single in the end. So Carter to Root once more, 2 left in the over. Short ball this time, but Root can't quite take full toll on that one. You would have thought he might have tried to loft it into the Smith Cooper stand, but he clothed it really, just in front of the square, and gets a 1.
I think it was a quicker ball actually, it was onto him
yep.
A little quicker.
The last ball of the 12th, Brook 16 from 11 deliveries on strike. And Carter floats this one up wide of off stump. Brook gets it away. Good piece of fielding again, just inside the circle, down at third man. And they get through for one more. But the damage was done ready. First ball of the over. So they're going to take 11 from that. And they're 116 for 2 after 12.
Yep, 5 singles then followed. But as Jonathan said, if you start the over with a maximum, you're always ahead of the game. 116 for 2 after 12. The wickets went down at 29 and then 83. Mulaney's bowled 2 overs, 1 for 14. Dan Christian has the ball at the far end, but he's still got his cap on. I think he's going to hand it to Stephen Mulaney, who's now drying his hands. So Mulaney to Brook, who's on 17. This pair have added 33 already. Will this be Yorkshire's year? One of the 5 teams never to win the domestic T20 Blast. Durham, Derbyshire, Gloucestershire, Glamorgan, the others. This one's clipped down the ground by Harry Brook for a single.
Thanks for the reminder.
Got out in 1 year. What was just said about Notts? 117 for 2. Notts winning in 2017. They've been to 5 finals day, the Outlaws. Yorkshire last there in 2016. There's Mulaney bowling to Root. Just content to take a single at the moment off Stephen Mulaney. 118 for 2. Root on to 39. What did he make yesterday? 60 odd?
64.
So a couple of very productive outings in this competition for Joe Root so far, but I'm sure he'll consider his work not yet done today. Lots of ones on the leg side. If Brook wants to hit it in that direction, he has, but he's pierced the gap, pierced the 2 out there. Patel and Duckett, and he's got a boundary. Wasn't looking for the 1 indeed. Just gave it a little bit of bottom and whipped it away. Nice shot from Harry Brook, who's on to 22, and it's 122 for 2.
Yeah, just a fraction too short from Stephen Mulaney at that pace. Brook managed to swivel and get the bottom hand through it and punched it away, and Mulaney was really, really disappointed in himself there.
It's going to be a good total, this, whatever. Next ball hit back to Mulaney by Brook. Clearly he didn't intend to hit it back to the bowler, but just didn't quite get it out of the middle of the bat. Lockdown once or twice. They showed that incredible Notts run chase at Headingley 5 or 6 years ago, where they chased down over 200. This one's hit down the ground. James Taylor, who's on the ground. This has gone for 4. Lovely shot from Brook, playing some eye-catching shots here. James Taylor and James Franklin, as Notts chased down over 200. They might have to do something similar here if Harry Brook continues to play shots like that. He's on 26, 126 for 2. 1 ball left in the 13th.
Yeah, it's looking on the 200.
Next ball from Mulaney to Brook. Will bring at least 1, but Root has come out of the blocks like Mick the Miller and come back for 2. And they do come back for 2. 128 for 2, so 12 from that Mulaney over. And it looks a very, very good wicket. The ball is coming on. And whether you're a pace bowler, a slower bowler like Mulaney, or a spinner like Carter or Patel, you're not getting a tremendous amount of assistance from the surface. It's a batsman's paradise out there, and the Yorkshire top order are making the most of it. 128 for 2, so they're going along at just a whisker. Well, near as damn it, they're going along at 10 and over, aren't they?
Mick the Miller. Yeah, I think that's so long ago. Even your granddad must have told you about Mick the Miller. Greyhound Derby winner, wasn't he? About I don't know, 2 or 3 times, something like that, in the 20s, was it? 30s?
Speaking of bygone days, of course, this day 1968, Sir Garfield hit Malcolm Nash for those 6 sixes at the St Helens ground in Swansea 52 years ago. And it's Clive Lloyd's birthday as well, one of the real godfathers of cricket. He's 76.
And here's Dan Christian from the Radcliffe Road end. Joe Root just lays his bat on that and guides it to one of 2 men in a sort of third man come deep gully position. That general area just behind square on the offside, inside the circle. Single to Root. He's on to 40 from 27. 129 for 2. Dan Christian, just his second over of the match so far. In he comes again, wide of off stump. That's nicely placed this time by Harry Brook. Opened the face, he's got it away backward of point, but he's still not going to get any more than the one, because Ben Duckett, who has paraded that side of the ground superbly for the Outlaws, keeps them to a single.
Yes, he's fielded very well indeed. Jake Ball and Joe Clark on the other side of the ground have as well. Not been too much work for Alex Hales, really. Straight.
He's got his job to do in a short while, as Christian is in, and Root again opens the face, and once more Duckett brought into play just in off the boundary at cover.
But you know, in this format, you know, often you'll see shots through the V to long on and long off. Mulaney and Hales have been largely redundant in that position. So far today, it's been shot square of the wicket.
Yeah, which gives you an indicator in terms of lines bowled and also length, I guess, as well. Christian does go full and straight this time, and it is in the V, and it's Mulaney who comes in off the long off boundary to do the fielding. Harry Brook picking up 1. 30 for him now, catching up with his partner out there. They've already put on 49 for this third wicket.
Just needs to get out of this over now. If he can go at no more than 2 from these last 2 balls here, just start to put a bit of a squeeze on as Yorkshire clearly want to press the accelerator.
Christian in again. Root waits. Oh, timed that beautifully. Duckett is going to have a sprint on, but gets round the boundary again to keep them to 1. Excellent shot, and good piece of fielding from Ben Duckett. He's getting through his 10,000 steps on the boundary edge. 50 up though. The partnership for the third wicket has come from 33 deliveries. So just again an indicator that momentum slightly slower than it was previously.
Yeah, whatever he gets with the bat, Duckett's in credit at the moment.
Christian, final ball of the over, and underneath that one, Harry Brook. Alex Hales at long on fields after just the 1 bounce, but good over from Dan Christian. 2 overs now for 18 from him, 134 for 2 with 6 overs to go in this Yorkshire innings.
We are seeing subs and in the case of Knotts, the fitness and conditioning coach, running on every single ball, because of course the caps for the bowlers running on at the end of every over, rather, because the caps need to be taken off the field for whoever's going to bowl, and the way Christian switches them around, it's a full-time job for a 12th man out there, it really is. Carter is going to bowl out. 3 overs, 1 for 23. Bowl his final over. Harry Brook on 31 from 20. Joe Root on 42 from 29. It's Brook on strike. Carter from the pavilion end. Sun just penetrating through 1 or 2 darker clouds that are overhead. Chris Nash, who's had a quiet time of things, just being moved from backward point over onto the leg side, just inside the ring. So Carter just off 3 or 4 paces, big tall man. Lincolnshire lad bowling to Harry Brook, squad number 88, who goes on the reverse instead, plays it out to our right. The Smith Cooper stand over there. Jake Ball comes in from the rope and returns. Good return, just 1 taken. Brook onto 32, 135 for 2. Dan Christian just holds play up whilst he goes and has a word with his bowler. Chris Nash, who'd run across to backward point, is now been sent back again to that square leg mid wicket position. Is he going to stop for Joe Root, who's on 42? There's Carter then in. Root push into the offside line to get a single. Ball hopped and skipped and bobbled its way to Mulaney. 136 for 2. Carter towers over umpire Cook. Next one's clipped away on the leg side by Brook. They've run the first one quickly. Joe Root's going to come back. In comes the return, taken, they say. I think Joe Root was home in any case. But,
excellent running that.
It was good fielding again from Duckett. Not a lot he could do about it. Throw couldn't have been much better, But if you drop it on the leg side and the fielders are out on the ropes, you've got a good chance, haven't you, if you both respond and run quickly. 138 for 2. Carter bowls. Oh, misstumping was it? I don't know if the ball came off Moores or it came off Brook and deflected past Tom Moores, but the batsman was stranded 3 or 4 yards down, and the ball sort of ran away from the keeper.
Yeah, I think Brook chopped it onto his own pads.
Right.
Yeah.
So Tom couldn't get there. Difficult to see from here because they're both sort of obscuring what actually happened, but it would have been heart in mouth time for Harry Brooks, certainly, as he missed it. On 39 for 2. As Brook moves on to 35 with that single. 1 ball left for Matt Carter. Keep him to 1 at the very most if he can, but he can't. Hit away onto the leg side for 4. Brooks going after his shots here, and another excellent execution from the youngster. End of Matt Carter. 4 overs, 1 for 32. He bowled the first over of the innings. He's bowled the most recent, the 15th, and at the end of it, Yorkshire 143 for 2. 9 coming from it, and again Yorkshire have just hurt Notts with a boundary from the final ball of the over.
They have, but from a Notts point of view, you wouldn't be too disappointed because that's just 1 boundary in the previous 2 overs. Yeah. And we're at that stage now where the batting side, trying to put the score on the board, would want to be, yes, keeping the scoreboard ticking off the half-decent deliveries, but also finding the boundary a little bit more now. They've got 8 wickets in the tent. They've got 2 men in there, well set here. Joe Root 47, Harry Brook 35, and they've got 5 overs now, 30 deliveries where they'll want to
10 and overs,
some real damage.
10 and overs 193, and obviously they might get a lot more than that. They might get a handful less, but sort of the first time I've just looked and thought, well, are they going to get the 200? They may, of course, in 1 big over, and they'll reach 200 with ease. But as you say, not so. Just put the squeeze on a little bit there. But they've got no more Matt Carter to help them out. He's bowled out, and Jake Ball's going to come back for his 3rd.
A couple of overs ago, when I said the 200's on, I looked at the board there thinking, well, if they get 10 and over for the last, whatever it was, 7 overs, they would have crossed that particular, or ticked that particular box. Yeah. But as you say, the last couple of overs, the squeeze slightly on. They've got, what, 15 from them rather than 20. Makes a difference. Here's Jake Ball round the wicket then. Oh, that's hammered by Harry Brook. He hits the ball so well straight. And again, forget T20 shots. That was a beautifully orthodox straight drive and brings him 4 more. 39 from 25 for Harry Brook, 147 for 2.
Partnership worth 64. Again, first ball of the over. Brings a boundary.
Yeah, Andrew Gale last year talked about batting in partnerships so many times. 29 for the first wicket, 54 for the second, and now 64 for the third. I think he's getting his wish at the moment. Jake Ball round the wicket. Radcliffe Road end. Sun shining at Trent Bridge. Harry Brook levers that one in the air. He's going to be caught here though. Ben Duckett, who's fielded so well, gets well, one of the easier bits of fielding he's had to do all day. Just walked into position and takes a very comfortable catch, and Yorkshire have lost their 3rd wicket then. Real good partnership though between Harry Brook and Joe Root of 64, and Brook gone. Caught Duckett, bowled ball for 39, 25 minutes. That's all he was out there for. 26 deliveries, 3 fours and a 6.
Yeah, well battered, Harry Brook. Notts needed that. They really did need that. It was inevitable, obviously, that the shots were going to start to come. The risks perhaps needed to be taken if Yorkshire were going to get up to what they would have deemed theirs almost by right at the halfway stage. 96 for 2 at the halfway stage. Here comes Will Frayne on the way out. So there were going to be risks taken on that occasion. Harry Brook didn't bisect the field as he picked out Ben Duckett, and as Jonathan said in commentary, the way he's fielded today, he was never going to drop that. Really has had a good time of things out there in front of the U Energy stand on the Fox Road side. New man Will Frayne, formerly of Nottinghamshire, only briefly, Durham University's captain, of course. That's where Notts saw him and offered him his first contract, a bit of a summer contract. Couple of years ago, made his debut. I remember in one of these games at Old Trafford. Introduced myself to him, took the photo. We had a bit of a chat, and wasn't around for long. Played, I think, just one championship game, a couple of white ball matches, and then he'd gone to his home county.
But it's ball to Root now because they crossed during that dismissal, and Root can't get this away on the leg side as he was trying to do. Good piece of bowling from Jake Ball. He just held that back on his former international teammate and just outfoxed him. Will Frayne having a wander down the field, down the strip, and a few words with the England Test skipper. Frayne, of course, 44 in just 16 balls yesterday against Derbyshire at Headingley. Ball into Root, beautifully timed pull again. Control was absolutely underlined in red once again by Joe Root there. Waited a long time for that slow bouncer from Jake Ball. Picks up a single. There's just, when he's playing well, there's an art to the batting of Joe Root. Just, he's got a canvas out there, just a little brush stroke here, brush stroke there. Occasional flash of brilliance.
Yes, if you're a Yorkshire follower, you can admire it till the cows come home. If you're with the opposition.
Ball in to Frayne, who smashed this one over the top of extra cover. What a way to introduce yourself back at your old club. 4 over extra cover to Will Frayne, 152 on the board for 3 wickets.
It's a nice shot, wasn't it, to get off the mark. First ball, Will Frayne lifting it over Samit Patel at extra cover. Would have comfortably cleared any fielder. It was high over extra cover and away for 4. It was a confident shot. Jake Ball just trying to pitch it up there full and straight. Hope the batsman might just have been a little rusty coming to the crease, but none of it. Glorious shot.
Final ball of the 16th over then. Frayne this time flicking it off the hip down to backward square leg, where he'll pick up a single to the fielding Joe Clark. End of the 16th. Frayne not out 5. Root 48. 153 for 3 Yorkshire.
Yeah, they got the 10 from that over, but they did lose a wicket. Will Frayne, incidentally, former Notts man. There's been 4 cricketers in the past who've actually played for Notts against Yorkshire and Yorkshire against Notts in this. Will Frayne hasn't. He didn't play for Notts against Yorkshire. I'll give you a minute or two. End of this over, I'll tell you those 4 were. I'm sure all the regular cricket watchers and listeners will know. 4 cricketers who've played for Notts against Yorkshire in the T20 competition, and Yorkshire against Notts as well over the years. 153 for 3 as Dan Christian, 2 overs, none for 18, comes in to bowl the 17th over to Frayne, who chips it down the ground just to the onside of straight, gets a single, brings Root back on strike, who's on 48 now. Joe Root heading towards back-to-back half centuries. This one so far has occupied 33 deliveries. Very fine knock. Root selected in the England one-day side to play Australia over the next couple of weeks or so. 154 for 3. He's come down the wicket here, Root, and plays again a proper cricket shot all the way along the ground. You're not going to be caught if you hit the ball in the ground, are you? And that seems to be Root's philosophy at the moment. 155 for 3. Dan Christian in his 6th year with Notts. Skippered them on many occasions. Previous skippers against Yorkshire: Paul Franks, Chris Reed, Stephen Fleming, David Hussey, Adam Vogers and James Taylor. Next ball pulled away by Frayne. In fact, he went to pull it towards mid-wicket, and again he's just got it down the ground. Once again, Alex Hales, the fielder. That's 3 in a row to Hales in this over. After me earlier saying most of the shots were going out onto the boundary riders square of the wicket. It's been a busy old time for the likes of Duckett and Clark and Jake Ball, who've been square of the wicket. Saved a lot of runs. 156 for 3. Root on 49. Is this the moment? It is indeed. Just take the single. Well battered. Joe Root gets his 51-57 for 3. Just get his figures for you in a moment. 35 balls for Joe Root's 56 fours.
Yep, and it's his 6th half century in T20 cricket for Yorkshire, an 11th in total.
Second in 24 hours or so. Frayne is on strike. Christian bowls to him, and again, there's a lot of effort gone into that shot from Will Frayne, but he's just blazed it along the ground to Mullany at mid-off. 5 from 5 in this over so far, and once or twice Notts have got in that position during the course of this innings, and the final ball has disappeared for 4 or 6. We won't want it to happen here. There is a single anywhere that Joe Root wants it effectively. 3 fielders on 1 behind the batsman. 2 short third men and a short fine leg. Root has hit it into the offside from the first one, but the ball's in the air. They're going to come back for 2, and they will get back comfortably back. That's good running between Root and Frayne. Root at the end of the over is on 52. Will Frayne has 8. 17 overs have gone. Yorkshire 160 for 3. The men out. Kohler Cadmore for 6, Lyth for 53, and Brook for 39. Root 52, Frayne 8. Yorkshire need 40 from 3 overs to reach 200.
Yeah, which would be a real boost for them 2 days in succession. I just get the feeling that that might not quite happen, but you never know. What is it, just 18 deliveries for the 40, and just in recent overs again, Notts just slowly keeping them down to the sort of total they'll still feel pretty confident that they've got the firepower to chase.
Well, Fletcher's going to bowl the 18th over, and he's got 2 left, so maybe Fletcher's penciled in for 18 and 20, and Jake Ball the 19th, so it'll be a little bit of right arm seam in the last 3 overs probably.
Frayne on strike, Fletcher in, short ball smashed with plenty of bottom hand straight back past the bowler. 2 fielders converging on it. Alex Hales wins the race, and they get through for 2. I think Yorkshire will probably just want at least 1 real big over here, a 16 plus or something like that.
Yep.
And that'll boost that chance of reaching a double ton for the 2nd day in a row, and this could help them because that's a massive blow from Will Frayne across through to the mid-wicket boundary, gone about a dozen rows back into the stand, and the umpire with doubly waving hands signals as such. 16 from 7 now for Will Frayne, and they've set about this over in pretty good style if they want a big one. 168 for 3, 8 off 2 in this over.
One of the rules of setting a quiz question, of course, is always to give the answers when you say you will. The 4 players that have played for Yorkshire against Notts and Notts against Yorkshire in the T20 competition: Michael Lum, Ajmal Shahzad, Ryan Sidebottom, and Phil Jakes. Wasn't here for long at Trent Bridge. Scored some useful red ball runs for Notts. I can remember him and Mullany putting 200 on against Somerset in a red ball game. Wasn't here for long before he got the opportunity to go back and coach New South Wales, but he did play a handful of T20 games, including one against Yorkshire, his former county. 168 for 3 as the ball is inspected after it was sent clattering into the stand.
So Luke Fletcher, shirt hanging out, number 19 on his back, turns again at this Radcliffe Road end of the ground, right arm over the wicket in towards Will Frayne then. Full delivery this time, and Frayne has lofted that, but it's straight into the hands of Alex Hales. He had to walk forward 2 or 3 paces and take a comfortable catch at long on, so that's the back of Will Frayne. Not the 44 from 16 yesterday, but still a real good strike rate. 16 from 8 deliveries for 200 for the day. Little cameo. 168 for 4 now, Yorkshire.
Yeah, you know, half of your sort of cricket mentality would say, oh, well, what a waste. He was striking it so cleanly. What a waste. 8 balls, 1 4, 1 6, looking full of it. But then, you know, the other side of it accepts what this competition is all about. Just go hard, go straight into top gear, and just try and whack as many out of the ground as you can. He just got under it just a little bit, and Alex Hales on the rope was able to pouch the catch. Notts will be relieved there. Matthew Fisher is the new man coming in at number 6. He can give it a bit of a wallop, but they've got rid of Frayne just when he was starting to flow nicely. We're halfway through the 18th over. Yorkshire 168 for 4.
as you say, the mentality of the game now is just keep going hard at the ball, and they've got the players in there who can do that, but not on this occasion, because that is the end of Matthew Fisher, first ball. And I think I'm right in saying Matthew Fisher has now been out for a golden duck 2 days in succession. Yeah, he was the subject of that brilliant Billy Godleman catch yesterday, and Luke Fletcher has just taken his leg pole out of the ground, first ball, 168 for 5.
Well, we'll throw it in here, just no Nottinghamshire bowler in T20 cricket has ever taken a hat-trick. Joe Root can't do any damage while he's at the non-strikers end. Jordan Thompson is the new man who played really, really impressively in the Bob Willis Trophy match here. What did he get? 90?
98.
98.
Yeah.
Did deserve that century, but it didn't come.
Yeah, and it's interesting actually, because if you may or may not recall, but in last year's match here, when Yorkshire looked like they were going to win the game, didn't they? The start of the last over, Jordan, I was trying to think, I think Will Frayne might have been out first ball of the last over that day, and Jordan came in for 5 deliveries, needing 6 to win. Tried to hit all 5 of them over the U Energy stand or the scoreboard away to our left, and I think only connected with 1 ball, which went over his head for 2. And of course Yorkshire lost the game. So
Fletcher's on a hat-trick. Just see this delivery. Thompson, the left-hander, of course. There goes Luke Fletcher, just returning to action this week. Fletcher to Jordan Thompson, and this one's pulled away down to long leg for a single. It's not to be for Luke Fletcher, but Thompson's up and running.
Yeah, tried the slow bouncer, and I think just hoping that Jordan Thompson would go aerial with that, but he waited for it and got it away backward of square. So that brings Root back on strike, which was probably Jordan Thompson's job at this stage. Have a look from the other end, pick up what he can from those that he faces. And we know he can strike a good ball. We've seen it disappear out into the Smith Cooper stand off him a few times in the Bob Willis Trophy game. Short ball here from Fletcher, pulled by Root. It's going to make it all the way to the boundary there, and going to pick up 4 more. Again, another controlled, lovely shot from Root. 56 to him now with that boundary. Just 2 overs left, and Yorkshire 173 for 5.
13 from the over. 2 wickets came during the over, but the 13 runs really are all that matters at this stage. Luke Fletcher, 3 overs, 2 for 37. Again, a boundary from the final ball. So 2 to go. Will it be Jake Ball to bowl the 19th? It will indeed. He's come in off the fence. So Ball and Fletcher presumably to bowl out. And Yorkshire just throw the bat. Jordan Thompson, the left-hander, on strike. So any leg side clubbing will go towards that Smith Cooper stand. Seen plenty of lefties over the years target that particular area.
Yeah, I think Jordan Thompson would have fancied Samit Patel getting the ball in his hand at the far end. It was Samit who he hit for those runs in the red ball game. Picked out the shortest boundary, but not going to get that opportunity.
173 for 5. I don't know when it's going to be my turn to sort the playlist out here at Trent. Let's put it another way. I think there's a reason they've never asked me. 173 for 5. Thompson's on strike. Jake Ball round the wicket to the left-hander who's gone skywards. Should be caught. Alex Hales just circling underneath it and takes a comfortable catch. And Notts have picked up another one. They did cross, so Root is on strike, but it's a dot ball. It's a wicket, of course, but precious dot ball as well to Notts. And Jordan Thompson, who can, as we saw in that match, hit a long ball, isn't going to do so today. 173 for 6, and 3 wickets have gone down in the space of 6 deliveries.
Yeah, not a lot more you can say, but really it's Jordan Thompson having to get on with it. Last couple of overs, that's his job, and just got underneath it, didn't he? Not enough length and a little bit too much height, and Alex Hales, it wouldn't have been easy out there. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing around, but held his position well, held the catch well.
Still some high quality players making their way out to the middle. Johnny Tattersall coming in at number 8. A little bit of helicopter noise overhead. Hope you'll just bear with us for a second while it passes. Then George Hill, Matt Pillins, we've seen once or twice here over the years. In fact, I'll just turn the effects microphone off for a second, because I don't know if it's a helicopter or a small plane now. We'll bring it back on in a second. You'll get the effects back in a moment as ball bowls, and might have just been well, it was clearly a hit and a miss. I just wondered if there was a bottom edge from the noise. It just sounded as if there was a little bit of something, but it did carry through to Tom Moores. Has that aeroplane or helicopter gone? Yeah,
sounds like it.
You can have the noise back again. Yeah, Matt Pillins, George Hill and Josh Poysden are the three Yorkshire batsmen that we've not seen yet. So third ball of the over in to Root. That's short and wide, and it's called as a no ball by Nick Cook.
First one of the game.
It's called for head height. Jake a little unlucky there. I fancy his surprise Joe Root a little bit there, but either way, it's a couple to the total. 175 for 6.
He needed step ladder's brace. Come on.
It's not a free hit. As ball comes in and bowls it away into the offside. Needs to be stopped, and it's not. It's gone through. Stephen Mullaney for 4. Not sure he got a kindly bounce there, Mullaney. He won't want me to make any excuses for him, any reasons that he got underneath him, but I just got the impression it didn't completely come off that used wicket, that net wicket cleanly, and he dived over it. Red ball skipper went away for 4.
I think he made it over the practice strip okay, but there's just a couple of footholes beyond that, and I think it was one of those it bobbled in.
179 for 6. Ball in again to Root, and he's got it away for 4 more. Such a dangerous player, complete 360-degree player, Joe Root. As we mentioned a time or two, it's not slogging with him. It's this ability that the very, very best players of this game possess in being able to almost outthink the bowler, being almost a second ahead in that they know where it's going to go and where they're going to put it. And Root has just hit 2 boundaries there, almost diagonally opposite each other.
Wasn't Jake Ball's finest hour, I don't think, either.
There is Ball, 183 for 6. He's in, pushed out into the offside, and Root gets a single, 184 for 6. No, but again, you know, the bowlers have... He's mixing it up, he's trying different things, and you know, often you'll get away with it if you bowl, you know, half a dozen different deliveries in the over, you know, slower balls and what have you. But on this occasion, Root almost seemed to be expecting it, standing there ready.
Yeah, he'd gone for 4 previous ball, probably overcompensating. That was more like it, the previous delivery, just for a single, full and wide.
Final ball of the over, 184 for 6, bowling to Tattersall, who's bowled. So another one comes and goes, with out making his mark, and Jake Ball ends with 3 wickets, 3 for 36 in the end there. Jake Hill, I'm sure, happily take those figures. 4 overs, 3 for 36. Joe Root is a fine player. Let's underline that. You know, let's make sure everybody's on the same page with regards to that. If he went for a couple of boundaries in that over, one Stephen Mullaney a little unlucky, and the second one, as I say, Root was there. It was a leg side ball. It probably did deserve to be put away, but Root was in a position to make the most of it. So George Hill on his way out to the middle, a young man I've not seen before, but a very impressive photograph in that he's on the big screen here at Trent Bridge in an England shirt with the 3 lions on.
England under-19 shirt, yep. He hails, I think, or lives around the Bingley area. Sedbergh School, product of Sedbergh School. Harry Brook, of course, from there as well. And we've seen him just in the last couple of red ball games. So Yorkshire supporters also not too familiar with George Hill, but he got a 29 in the second innings against Lancashire. And he bowled against Derbyshire 13 overs 27 with the red ball. Then he took his first class wickets against Lancs, and also took his first T20 wicket yesterday at Headingley. We'll see him with the ball as well, I would imagine, at some point. So useful all-round player. I think Yorkshire ready for a while, and he's getting his first opportunities. But at the moment, it's Root on strike to Luke Fletcher. First ball of the last over, and that's a brilliant catch from Alex Hales at long on. That is an outstanding catch. Goodness me, he made sure his foot was inside the rope. He stretched every inch of his body to get up and climb up and catch that ball, and also then had to keep his balance as he landed on his right foot. he just gets a few little elbow bumps from his teammates, and talk about an underwhelming celebration for a brilliant piece of fielding. Joe Root's gone for 65 from 43 balls. Excellent knock from him, and Yorkshire 184 for 8.
Yeah, 43 balls, 9 fours. I'm not playing, but in terms of watching that particular one, I'd given it up as 6 runs straight away. Brilliant work on the fence from Alex Hales. His third catch of the innings. Well battered, Joe Root. Very, very fine knock indeed. 65 from 43 balls. Luke Fletcher's got himself his 3rd wicket now. Matt Pillans on the way out to the middle. Fletcher 3 for 37. Jake Ball finished with 3 for 36. So Pillans in at 10 to join George Hill, and just Josh Poisden in the shed if needed. 184 for 8.
So just certainly not a bad finish for Yorkshire, but just a little bit of momentum being checked here in the last few overs now. And Fletcher in, first ball to Pillans, who pulls this one backward of square leg and gets himself off the mark first ball. George Hill will now be facing then for the first time with just 4 left in this Yorkshire innings. 185 for 8. It's certainly a decent score, no doubt about that. But will it be enough? They'd like to pick up another couple of boundaries, I'm sure, during this last 4 deliveries, but no chance for George Hill to have a look at it, because Fletcher's in now. Low full toss. Good delivery from Luke Fletcher, wide of off stump. Hill has to be content with chopping down on that into the offside and picking up a single. Fine margins, we said, didn't we, earlier on, and that fine margin there, Alex Hales, if somebody like Samit Patel or Stephen Mullaney had been under that one, probably would have gone for 6. But he got the fingertips up there. What a catch that was.
Fletcher 3 wickets in 5 balls.
3 for 39 now then. 3 balls left in the Yorkshire innings. Low full toss again, round about leg stump, but this time he's got it away, has Matt Pillans, only just shy of a 6 through straight mid-wicket. 1 bounce and across the rope then. So Yorkshire on to 190. Pillans with a first boundary, he's on to 5.
Like you say, fine margins, that one was in the gap. It was in the air for a long time. You just can't cover every single blade of this outfield.
What's Fletcher going to produce now then? In he comes again. Slow ball this time, and again Pillans has got something on underneath that one, but Hales round the boundary edge this time. By his standards, that was easy. Comfortable catch. Pillans has gone. Yorkshire 9 down with 1 delivery left at 190 for 9.
4 catches in the innings now for Alex Hales, and 4 wickets to Luke Fletcher. It was almost catching practice there. Pillans out for 5. 190 for 9. 1 ball left in the innings. Can Fletcher get a 5-fer? Can Notts bowl Yorkshire out?
Josh Poisden then last man coming in for Yorkshire. But they crossed, of course, so George Hill will have strike. And, well, I guess they'd just like to see this disappear over a boundary somewhere. The 200 was on, but I think credit to Nottinghamshire, because they've bowled well in this back 4 or 5 overs here, and they've just to some extent stymied that progress that Yorkshire were making. Not a disastrous finish for the visitors, but from where they were, they probably would have liked another 15 runs at this point. You always like more though, don't you? Here's Fletcher then into Hill, who tries an enterprising little scoop and ends up being bowled, and Luke Fletcher has got himself a 5-fer. 5 for 43 from 4 overs, and Yorkshire all out off the last ball of the innings for 190.
Yeah, career best for Luke Fletcher. He's never had a 5-fer before. He actually got a bit of stick, didn't he? The first 2 overs went the distance, but came back strongly there. In fact, he got his 5 wickets during the course of his last 2 overs. Fletcher 5 for 43. So Notts have just saved themselves a little bit of pain there, you fancy, over the last 2 or 3 overs. 190 all out. Yorkshire Luke Fletcher, 4 overs, no maidens, 5 for 43. The other bowling figures quickly. Matt Carter, 4 overs, 1 for 32. Jake Ball, the only other one to bowl out, 4 overs, 3 for 36. I beg your pardon. Ball, 3 for 36. Fletcher, we've given you 4 for 43. Then Dan Christian had 3 overs, none for 25. Samit Patel, 2 overs, none for 26. And Stephen Mullaney, 3 overs, 1 for 26. For Yorkshire, Cola Cadmore made 6, Lyth 53, Root 65, Brook 39, Frayne 16, and then it was a little bit of a 0101 story. Fisher 0, Thompson 1, Tattersall 0, Hill 1, Pillans 5, Poisden 0, not out. Yorkshire 190 all out. Notts will need 191 when we come back in around about 10 minutes time to give you the Outlaws chase. Very much game on here, I fancy. Yorkshire were staring topside of 200 down the barrel, but Notts have just pegged it back quite considerably in the last 2 or 3 overs there. Yorkshire 190 all out. Jonathan and myself will be back in about 10 minutes time as the chase begins.
So at the end of the Vikings innings, they post a score of 190 with contributions from the England Test captain Joe Root and Adam Lyth. From a Notts point of view, well, Luke Fletcher there at the end doing what Luke Fletcher does with his death bowling and getting his fifer. Notts will require 191. Whilst we wait for that, we caught up with the Notts Outlaws captain Dan Christian earlier on in the week before the campaign started. Here's what he had to say with Kirsty.
Yeah, great to be back. It's a wonderful place, and yeah, nice that given the circumstances I was still able to come over and get the season underway.
And are you ready to walk out onto that field? How are you feeling in terms of approaching the game?
Good, yeah, feeling really good. Had a nice break. I haven't played a professional game since the end of the Big Bash, which was the end of January for me. So, for someone at my age, it's nice to have that refreshing kind of few months off and get the body nice and fit, get rid of all the niggles and get back into it.
So you arrived here at Notts mid-2015 season, quite quietly, and we're into your 6th season this season. Did you think your Notts career would actually kind of pan out like that when you arrived? Was it an aim or...?
No, of course not. This is comfortably the longest I've ever spent at a club, particularly as an overseas player. I normally only spend 1, sometimes 2 seasons as an overseas player. So, yeah, to be going into my 6th is something I'm really proud of, and I'm really proud of the success that we've had here as a club over that period. And obviously that's been a reason why you keep wanting me to come back.
But 6 years as a player as well, there must be something that makes Notts quite close to your heart.
Yeah, the ground. I love the ground, and I've made some really good friends here, and I like Nottingham as well. So it's always been a really easy decision for me to keep coming back.
So for obvious reasons, this season is very different. Obviously, we've had quite a shortened Red Bull season so far, still games to play there. But how do you think that will affect the approach to T20, or will it even at all?
I don't think it'll change too much. We're still playing 10 games instead of 14, which is not that much of a difference. And I think the nature of the season being so back-to-back, I think it'll be really good. That's how most 2020 tournaments are played around the world. You generally only have 2, maybe 3 maximum days between games. So, I think it'll be really good for us. And the guys, despite not having the wins on the board in the 4-day cricket, it looks like they're playing some really good cricket. So there's a good feel around the group. They had a really good pre-season, albeit a little bit interrupted, I guess. But they seem to be in a really good place, and they're looking forward to this.
So we've had the pleasure of knowing you for a couple of seasons now, and I think it's fair to say you have a competitive streak in you. What motivates you, and how do you then pass that on to the team as a captain?
What motivates me? I like winning. I just like winning, and I've always been like that since I was a kid, playing board games or in the backyard or anything like that. That's always been my thing. So I guess that kind of rubs off on everyone else when I'm around the change room or out on the field. And it's professional sport as well. I think and guys are proud of they're proud of the way they go about it and their own performance. So from that individual perspective, I think that's what people want to do well, but then also that's the beauty of cricket. You're doing it for the guy next to you as well.
I suppose then if you are competitive and everybody goes out there as a professional sportsman to win the game, the losses then have an extra element of hurt to them, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they do. Particularly when you put everything into it, and of course you're going to lose some games, but there are times when you put yourself in positions to win them, and when you lose those games, they're probably the most disappointing and the ones that hurt the most for sure.
So over the last few seasons, we've seen the likes of Matt Carter, Tom Moores, those younger squad members coming through and really putting in kind of match-winning performances. Presumably that's quite encouraging as a captain to see that kind of talent growing up through the ranks as well.
Yeah, it is, for sure. Those guys are great examples of that, and with the smatterings of older guys within the team as well, Alex Hales and Chris Nash and Mulaney, Patel, even Jake Ball now is one of our most experienced players. And when I first got here, he was still a kid, so ended up playing for England. So it's been really exciting to see that and see the team grow as well as the individuals.
So let's go to this year's competition. I'm thinking it's probably quite a predictable answer, but what is the aim?
Yeah, we're going to win it.
I like the positivity.
I genuinely think we can. I don't think we played anywhere near our best cricket last year. Got to finals day and should have won that semi-final. So. I think with the experience of having lost that semi last year, that hurt a lot of us a lot, and I think we've got a very, very similar team this year, and I'm sure everyone's keen to turn that table.
Is there a risk though that kind of sits there in the back of people's minds, or are you telling everybody close that door, move on to this season?
I think you've always got to have those. Feelings there and be aware of them, because they can drive you. They can definitely drive you. That feeling of wanting to right that wrong. Of course, you want to be focused on the job at hand, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you don't want to feel like that again.
So it's behind closed doors this year.
Well,
there's a lot of chatter out there as to whether that would affect the game, whether it would affect the feeling on the field for the players. How do you think it's going to pan out?
I don't think it'll make too much difference. I think just being it's professional sport and you're out there trying to do as well as you possibly can. You won't have that 12th man, if you like, of the crowd getting behind you when the game's under the game's on a knife edge. But I think the feel and the intensity and stuff will still be just as high.
So this year we obviously have the stream, and that's hopefully taking cricket here at Trent Bridge into everybody's living rooms. What's important for those fans to do for you guys, really, to keep them close and connected to the game? It's important they're still involved, yeah? Yeah,
it is for sure. I've kept my eye on the 4-day stuff at home, been watching that as well. So it's nice, it's awesome that it goes all the way around the world. If any time that we know that there's messages of support coming through, or just knowing that there are X amount of people watching the stream and getting behind us, it'll certainly go a long way to helping us get over the line.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for chatting to us today, Dan. We will hopefully catch up with you many more times across the tournament.
No worries.
And speak to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Tell you that the game that started at 1 o'clock at New Road, Gloucestershire made 197 for 3, Worcestershire a 152 for 7 in the 18th, so they need 46 from 2.4 overs. Looks as if the Gloucesters are going to win that one. At Headingley, Leicestershire made 177, Durham 105 for 6 in the 15th. Durham needs 73 runs from 5.4 overs, so they're the two other games. Looks as if Leicestershire are going to beat Durham. Looks as if Gloucestershire are going to beat Worcestershire. Lancashire and Derbyshire meet this evening, and the only other one of today's matches is about to resume with Adam Lyth to bowl the opening over from the pavilion end. Lots of again sent out Chris Nash and Alex Hales to get the innings up and running. Jonathan Doidge away to update the Yorkshire stations. Be back with us before too long. I'm Dave Bracegirdle, and welcome back to Trent Bridge as Adam Lyth from the pavilion end bowls the first ball of the innings to Chris Nash, who hits it firmly past the diving Lyth, but fielder up inside the ring at mid-on is the England skipper, Test skipper Joe Root. Needed to get the binoculars there, he just looked a little unfamiliar as Nash gets this one away and they get a single. Don't often see Root in the yellow and blue. Did see quite a lot of him earlier in the afternoon as he made a very splendid 65. 53 from Lythe, 39 from Brook, the leading contributors. 4 catches to Alex Hales, who's just taken guard. This will be a little strange for Hales, always playing a miss outside the off stump, batting at Trent Bridge. His home ground, of course, one he played on so many times, but it's almost exactly a year since he last played here. And he's gone on the slog sweep here, and he's got this one away. 1 bounce for 4 behind square on the leg side. It's 360 days since Notts beat Middlesex here in the quarter-finals of last year's competition. Hales, what did he get, 80, 83, 84, something like that, and Nash in the 70s as they chased down that Middlesex target of 160 odd to win by 10 wickets. So Hales with a boundary, Notts 5 without loss. Here comes Adam Lythe, bowls. Hales has hit this one to mid-off and has gone. Hales out for 4. Second ball he's faced and he's drilled it crisply straight to mid-off, and Lythe strikes. Lythe who got 5 wickets here in this game last year. And it's Cola Cadmore with the catch, and Alex Hales slammed his bat into the ground in frustration. Drilled it straight to mid-off, and Hales has gone for 4 and Notts a 5 for 1 in the very early stages. Hugely disappointing for Hales and the Notts supporters. The positive, I guess, will be the form that Joe Clarke displayed on Saturday. Clarke is on his way already out to the middle. In fact, he passed Hales only just off the square. Such was Hales' reluctance to depart and Clarke's eagerness to get out there. Touches gloves with Chris Nash, but Adam Lythe has struck again. It was very firmly, just about head height, straight to Cola Cadmore, who took a relatively comfortable catch. So Joe Clarke starts afresh, as everybody does. 100 not out on Saturday. Made from just 44 balls, 9 sixes. So Lythe to bowl to him. Final ball of this first over, and Clarke is away. Push onto the leg side, and they're going to come back for 2. Yeah, that's good running by Nash and Clarke. So 7 from the over, but success early doors here for Yorkshire and for Adam Lythe. Notts are 7 for 1. Alex Hales, the man out. Rest of the Notts card, of course: Ben Duckett, Tom Moores, Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney, Samit Patel, Luke Fletcher, Matt Carter and Jake Ball. It's going to be Matthew Fisher to bowl the second over. Chris Nash scored a single in the opening over. He's on strike. Fisher, right arm medium pacer from the Radcliffe Road end. Yorkshire have got a slip. Here comes Fisher in to bowl to Nash. This one thuds into his thigh pad and doesn't really go anywhere, so Fisher can field off his own bowling. Unlike Notts, who through the power play had a boundary rider square of the wicket on each side, Yorkshire have got a third man, and man out at deep mid wicket. 3 fielders on the offside though, just trying to fill that gap between point and extra cover. There's Fisher in to Chris Nash, who's hit this one down the ground, and it'll go for 4. Properly get hold of it, but did more than enough. So if you can just beat the ring, then you're going to get full value for your strokes, even if you don't get them out of the middle of your bat, because there's nobody out there. 11 for 1. Nash on to 5. Taps flaps his bat a couple of times. Here's Matthew Fisher, straight approach, hit up in the air, and there's another opportunity for Kohler. Cadmore can't get to it. Chris Nash was a little fortunate there that didn't have any hang time. Looked for all the world as if he was going to suffer the same fate as Alex Hales as he chipped it up in the air. It just seemed to be going straight to Kohler Cadmore at mid-off, but didn't quite reach. 12 for 1. He took the single. Joe Clark down to the far end for the first time. Really was a magnificent knock on Saturday, his second T20 century, and funnily enough both have come against Durham, his previous one obviously for Worcestershire. Fisher bowls to him, Clark gets 4 here, he's hit that very, very crisply indeed. That really was a punch away again through straightish mid-wicket. 16 for 1. Cadmore just tinkering with his field here. Joe Root's been brought out from slip into mid-wicket just to try and plug that gap. There's Fisher in again, slammed away and he's out. Clark's gone. Clark drills it to live, and Notts have lost 2 wickets inside the first 11 balls of this innings. There's 16 for 2 and Joe Clark has gone for 6, smashing it to Adam Lyth, who was just a pace or 2 in from the discs on the offside at extra cover. Lyth with a comfortable enough catch, and Yorkshire very much in the box seat here as Joe Clark goes for 6. Faced just 3 balls. Ben Duckett on his way out to the middle. Notts have lost 2 of their big guns, Hales and Clark, both back in the shed. Ben Duckett, left-hander, of course, arrives in the middle. Only had 11 balls of this innings. 16 for 2. Like the previous shot, which went for 4, Clark really gave that a good wallop, but the ball was hit in the air and straight to the man. So Duckett's taken guard. Root back in at slip. And offsets Fisher. Past umpire Ramage. Bowls chopped to backward point. End of the over. Successful one for Matthew Fisher. Successful one for Yorkshire. Same stage. The visitors were 13 with Outlaws. Notts are 16 for 2, but they're 2 big wickets. Hales and Clark, Nash and Duckett are at the crease at the moment. There's still a little bit of ammunition to come with Moore's Christian Mullaney and Patel, but that's a massive blow that's been struck in the early stages of this innings by Yorkshire as Jonathan Doidge comes back to join me.
And Joe Root comes back in, or comes into the Yorkshire attack, I should say, for the first time in the afternoon. So yeah, a couple of big wickets while I was doing my update next door. Alex Hales and Joe Clark with that ton, of course, as well. So first ball from Root. Chris Nash tries to get it away on the leg side, thick inside edge into his feet, I think it was, and Tattersall cleans up. So dot ball, Root in again. Bowling is off spin, lofted this time by Chris Nash and over the top of Adam Lyth, who gives chase away down towards the pavilion end. They're going to get back for a comfortable 2. Matthew Fisher with a pretty good first over. Boundaries, but a wicket, and of course he got 3 for yesterday. Very much good to see him back for Yorkshire yesterday after another injury. And the short ball here is dispatched by Chris Nash. Excellent shot there. He used every bit of time he was afforded by Joe Root, who dropped the ball short into the pitch. Don't bowl that filth at me was the sort of feeling about the shot. Just dismissive back at a point for 4. Not Joe Root's finest hour with the ball, but he's having another go here. 22 for 2, and that's better. And pushed back to the bowler by Nash, who's 12 from 9. in the early moments here for Notts. Root again, getting through this over quickly. That's going to be a leg side wide though this time. It's marginal, isn't it? But once it goes down that side, you know what's going to happen. The umpire's arms raised horizontally. 23-4-2. Still 2 to come in the third. Root in again. Nash, thick inside edge, goes out backward of square. Fisher in off the boundary, bounces it into Tattersall.
I'll turn it down. The reason I'm almost toppling out the window is that light aeroplane going over. It's trailing a banner. It's gone over the ground, but almost over our heads at the Radcliffe Road end. But it's trailing a banner with a message, and I don't know if it's for the cricketers or it's perhaps happy birthday, mum and dad, or or whatever. But one or two of the players are looking up. Yeah. It was trailing a banner which said something, but from here we couldn't see what it said.
Root switches around the wicket to the left-handed Duckett. That's a good piece of fielding there, because that was boundary bound. It was Will Frame with a diving stop to his right, and that was a certain 4 if it had gone by, but Duckett has to be content with none off 2. End of the third over, and the Outlaws 24-2.
Yeah, they're behind at this stage. They were ahead after 2 overs. Is it going to come back? Well, it is going to come back, but we can't see it. He's flying too close to the Radcliffe Road end, so we can't see because of the overhang here of the gantry above our heads. But he's definitely trailing a banner of some description. It's going to be Matthew Fisher, 24-2. Same stage Yorkshire were 28 without loss. Real blow, losing Hales and Clark in the opening couple of overs. Fisher, his first over, went for 9 balls, hit away on the leg side. Just have a look at the umpire. I think there was some bat involved. It was in the air for what? No, he's going to tap his knee, so no danger there. Leg by 25-2. So let's just fill some of the gaps here for Nottinghamshire supporters. Jonathan, Josh Poisden, we're likely to see a leg spinner. Matt Pillans. Medium fast. George Hill, I don't know.
George Hill will bowl again medium, just on the fast side of medium. Matthew Pillans would be the quicker, definitely.
25-2. Next ball. Oh, is it Duckett, a midship somewhere? They don't get a they don't get a run, but the ball had come back on the cut strip, and Matt Fisher, who scampered down there trying to stop the run, decided to kick it towards the stumps, and he did kick it nicely onto the stumps and then celebrated like he'd scored a goal. And talking of football, Des Oldham says, I live on Collick Road, Dave. It says Leeds United are champions, we are going up.
He's a big Leeds United fan, Matthew Fisher.
Is the next one squirted away on the offside? Yeah, Outlaw Chris says Leeds United are going up, or something like that. Yeah, James Spring's seen it as well. So there you are. They're flying it over the ground, obviously deliberately for the Yorkshire players to see, and no doubt that's why they were all looking skywards and nodding approval.
On the bowling front, you're also likely to see Harry Brook, who got his first T20 wicket yesterday and celebrated like it was his 500th.
Fisher bowls, Duckett away onto the offside. Should be cut off, and will be. They're going to come back for 2. Who's that down there? A million miles away from us, down near the Batman board.
It is George Hill.
Number 18.
But yeah, Harry Brook's celebration yesterday. Honestly, you would have thought... You'd have thought he'd got Viv Richards, Brian Lara, you name all the great players out, Bradman out in one delivery put together.
27-2. Duckett's on 2 then with those runs. He's clipped this one away. It's partially stopped there by Josh Poisden. They'll come back for 2. They contemplated a third but won't get it.
Yeah, good recovery in the end from Josh Poisden to keep them to just one more run. They were going to get the single anyway.
Graham Rowley now. Apparently David says Leeds United are the champions, we are going up. Wonder how much that costs. I don't mean to be champions and to go up, but I mean to up.
That costs a lot more than the banner will do.
29-2. I was going to say there's another aeroplane going over, but there's no banners on that one. That's a huge holiday jet just come back from somewhere as Duckett clips this one on the leg side. 29-2. End of the over. It's not aeroplane noise, it's music blaring out of the tannoy system. In fact, 30 for 2 at the end of the 4th, so only 6 from that over. There's a couple of very decent overs from Matthew Fisher. At the same stage, Yorkshire were 33 for 1, Notts are 30 for 2 in comparison.
Music? Is that what you is that what you call it? So 30 for 2, yeah. Nash 13, Duckett on 5, and just the early progress that you expect to see from a Nottinghamshire side. Obviously, just having to think about it a little bit on account of some decent bowling from Yorkshire and the loss of those 2 big wickets. Alex Hales out for just 4 third ball, and also third ball Joe Clark for 6 in his case. Change of bowling here at the pavilion end. Jordan Thompson coming into the attack for Yorkshire, and he's right arm and around the wicket to the left-handed Ben Duckett, who pushes it up to Joe Root at mid-off. There's no run. Jordan Thompson seen to good effect in T20 cricket with the ball last season, and in red ball cricket, and the opportunities he's been getting this year in the Bob Willis Trophy. Useful chip-ins with both bat and ball. More than useful chip-ins, that 98 down here. But this one is pretty much a replica of some of the shots he was playing off Samit Patel. Dispatched over mid-wicket, high, wide and very handsome from Ben Duckett, and a maximum. 11 from 9 for him. And Jordan Thompson's delivery disappearing much as he was doing with Samit Patel in the red ball game here. 36 for 2 now, the Outlaws.
It's just where the stand is. Whenever you've got a left-hander at this end, you always seem to fancy they're going to be able to propel it towards there. It's not quite the same when you get a right-hander hitting it into the William Clark for some reason. No,
Thompson in, this time it's wide of off stump. Again, superb piece of fielding this time from Adam Lyth. He's not going to stop the 1, but he certainly stopped a boundary. Saves 3 for his team. Out there in the covers, diving to his left. Duckett on to 12 then from 10. Nash 13 from 11 is back on strike, and Notts now 37 for 2. Halfway through the 5th. Jordan Thompson switches to bowling over the wicket then to the right-hander. He's in now. It's full, but down the leg side. And not given us a wide, so presumably must have clipped the pad on the way through. Not easy to tell.
David Caldecott says the banner says, why pick Joe Denley and not Joe Root in England's T20 squad?
And Root hasn't made the T20 squad, has he?
He's in the ODI squad.
So Thompson in, and this one lofted over straight mid-wicket. It's going to be bouncing 3 times before it disappears over the boundary rope out there in the distance for 4 more. So expensive over so far from Jordan Thompson. He's gone for 11. Still one to come with that big 6 from Ben Duckett, and now another boundary from Chris Nash. 41 for 2. 1 ball left in the 5th over. So just 7 left in these power play overs. Yorkshire have got a man back on the long on boundary. It's Joe Root, and the man back on the deep square leg boundary. Everybody else, of course, inside the circle. That's a good response from Jordan Thompson to finish the over in the end with a Yorker just outside off stump, and Nash content to dig it out. 17 to him, 12 to Duckett. 5 overs gone, and Nottinghamshire 41 for 2.
Yeah, I fancy it was a slower ball as well, which Chris Nash had to just readjust and dig out right at the very end, having been prepared to propel it many a mile if he could. So we're through 5 overs. The power play for Yorkshire ended with them on 53 for 1, so Notts would need 12 runs from this over to get up there in terms of runs, but they're already a wicket worse off. It's going to be Joe Root to bowl his 2nd over. Chris Nash put him away for a couple of boundaries in his 1st over, which went for 8. Root this time from the Radcliffe Road end, round the wicket to the left-handed Duckett, who goes for a slog sweep. He's got it away much finer than he intended. It's running away towards the pavilion fence and will go all the way over the ropes for 4. Duckett improvising from the off and gets Joe Root on the back foot straight away with a boundary. The 2 men out on the leg side for Yorkshire. End of this over, of course, more can be released into the wild. Root once more, bowls again the reverse, and it's hit away on the leg side. He's got under it a little bit, so he's going to plug, won't skip on and reach the ropes, but they will come back for 2. Duckett on to 18, 47 for 2.
Matt Pillon's doing the fielding. Those eagle-eyed among you, he's changed his number this year from 47 to 13.
Next ball, down the leg side, and a long way down the leg side from Joe Root. He was obviously anticipating that Duckett would look to switch it again. This one outfoxes the former Northants man, Ben Duckett, who does well not to just dolly one up there to Thompson at short extra. Root in again. Gone on the reverse. LBW appeal. Ian Ramage, the umpire, says not out. As the throw comes in, they take a leg by. 49 for 2. Duckett has 18, Nash had 17. They both face 14 deliveries.
If it wasn't on the full light, it was pretty close, wasn't it? It was a full-length delivery. Quite difficult to tell whether it just bounced in front of his toe end.
It's tough for the umpire when a left-hander's playing all his shots right-handed, isn't it, as well? It really is difficult. So Nash on strike, Knott's on 49. That's short and just hurried on, just skipped on a little bit to Chris Nash, who wasn't able to get any significant leverage on the ball, but gets the single nonetheless. So 50 up, 50 for 2.
Exactly the same time it took Yorkshire, 5.5 overs.
Next ball is pushed into the offside, and Thompson will field, so that's the end of the power play overs. 50 for 2. Yorkshire at the same stage were 53 for 1.
Yeah, so the contest that we thought we might be seeing before this game got underway is coming to fruition. Nothing in it really, just that one extra wicket for Yorkshire and 3 runs fewer for the Outlaws. And we're going to see Matty Pillons for the first time today, bowling from the pavilion end of the ground. Over number 7. Can be quite sharp, Matthew Pillons. I think he's been clocked at around about 90.
Yeah, one of his first games in this country was for Surrey, or I don't know, where would we be, 4 or 5 years ago now, and it was a bit slippery then, didn't stay long with Surrey, didn't get many opportunities.
Here he comes pounding in then for his first delivery. It's a good one, round about middle and leg. It's turned 2 leg by Chris Nash, and Yorkshire, having set the field back in greater number, have to rely on Matthew Fisher to come charging in from the square leg boundary and field, and keeps them to 1. 51 for 2.
We often talk about how in this competition, the Blast, sides get very familiar with each other. The North always play the North, the South always play the South. Chris Nash playing his first game against Yorkshire since 2012, when he appeared against them in the semi-finals day at Cardiff.
Here's Pillons, but it's down the leg side, and Duckett tried to get a flick on, missed, but Notts will pick up a run from the wide. 52 for 2. Yeah, semi-final in 2012. Yorkshire beat...
They lost to Sussex in the semi-finals, then Sussex beat Somerset.
Yep. I'm thinking of the year that they got to the final against Hampshire. Here is Pillons in, and that's pushed into the offside. Root does the fielding, no run. That was at Sophia Gardens, wasn't it?
Mm. They were low and slow, weren't they? It's not generally not been regarded as the best finals day, because they're all relatively low scores. Edgbaston has very much become the home of finals day.
Pillons in, third ball of the 7th, short, pulled by Duckett. He's not quite going to get the boundary from it, because Adam Lythe, patrolling the boundary, does well, much in the way that Duckett himself had done for the Outlaws in the field. So 2 to Ben Duckett takes him to 20. He's got the predominance of this 38-run partnership so far for the 3rd wicket.
Of course, finals day this year penciled in for the 3rd of October. That's the far and away the latest. We'll have had it.
Pillons into Duckett, who works it backward of square this time. Will Frayne round to do the chasing. And good job he did as well, because George Hill, who came in first, fumbled it, and that's cost him a run there. So 2 to Duckett. Have you got the thermals and the scarf on standby in case you make it to finals day then? A bit parky, isn't it?
There's a lot of water to pass under a lot of bridges, I think, before any side can start thinking about finals day.
Pillans, a couple of little skips that he does at the start of his run. Charges in then to Duckett, wide of off stump, and that's lofted over the gully region down to third man, where Josh Poisden is round to do the fielding, and they get through for one more.
Can't find boundaries, can they, at the moment? They're getting lots of ones and lots of twos, but Yorkshire have been masters over the last couple of overs of having the right fielders in the right place to stop the ball going for boundaries.
Pillans has got a sweeper out then at cover. He's got a 3 set back on the leg side, and he's in again, this time to Nash, who opens the face and runs it to Jordan Thompson. Gun fielder, of course, just backward a point, and there is no run. So decent start from Matt Pillans. He went for 7 off the over, but Nottinghamshire 57 for 2 by comparison to Yorkshire's 65 for 1 at the same stage.
Yeah, Jordan Thompson at backward point here, of course, in the Bob Willis Trophy, ran out Joe Clark's brilliant bit of fielding and direct hit to send Clark on his way.
Josh Poisden, by the looks of it, coming on at this Radcliffe Road end.
A bit of the old Scissors sisters. We approve of one. I'm sure they absolutely don't care less whether I'm enjoying the music or not. Poisden then will bowl his leggies. Former Warwickshire man, had a nasty head injury last year, and when Jonathan and I were in the commentary box at North Marine Road for the championship game at Scarborough, he came and did the game with us and shared memories of his head injury with Luke Fletcher, who of course had also suffered a nasty blow. 57 for 2. Duckett is on strike. He's on 23 from 19. Nash has 19 from 17. The leg spinner tosses one up, and Duckett whacks it away on the leg side. He was at full stretch. Adam Lyth again on the ropes does well to scoop it back into play, and Harry Brook with the return 2 from it.
Yeah, 2 for 30 odd yesterday, Josh Poisden. I think he was the most expensive of, well, he definitely was the most expensive of the Yorkshire bowlers, but good to see him back among the wickets. I'll do his confidence no harm.
59 for 2, 132 more needed from best part of 13 overs. Duckett again goes down on one knee and puts it away on the leg side. Out to Matthew Fisher, patrolling that boundary on the Fox Road side of the ground, where Duckett himself performed so admirably early on. He really did make plenty of very, very good stops, and not only that, he turned a lot of potential 2s into 1s by the speed he got there. He also caught Harry Brook out there on that rope as well. So Duckett had a good time of things in the field, and he's got off to a start. He's on 26. Nash on strike on 19. Nash punches it away into the offside. Might have bisected the 2 fielders out here, he has. And Chris Nash gets a boundary. Notts will welcome that. 64 for 2. Been a while, as I say, since the last boundary. But that was a proper cricket shot from Chris Nash.
Yeah, lovely shot. It was really about whether Harry Brook could get his hand to it or not. And once he couldn't there at short extra cover, it was always boundary bound. Nicely played.
64 for 2. Poisden gone for 7 from his first 3 balls. Nash will make it at least 1 more, possibly 2. Fisher's got to go a long way to his left. That backward point or deep point boundary position, and that's the 50 partnership from just 38 balls between Nash and Duckett, who've got Notts back on track after they lost both Alex Hales and Joe Clark inside the first 11 balls of the innings. 66 for 2. Poisden to Nash, who's on 25. Again, he works it into the offside. Fisher this time I think will keep them to 1. He will indeed. 67 for 2. Into the 8th, Yorkshire were 82 for 1, so 15 runs better off at this stage. Duckett on 26, Nash is on 26, but it's the left-hander on strike. Final ball of the over. Goes for the reverse and gets the reverse away for 4. Timely boundary. Number 2 in the over for Nottinghamshire, and this time for Ben Duckett, who's on to 30, 71 for 2. So 14 from that over from Josh Poisden. And that just gives Tom Kohler-Cadmore just an additional thing to think about when he's going to bring Poisden back, because I'm sure we'll see him before too long. But his first over's gone for 14, and Duckett does give opposition captains that thorny problem about, are you going to set a field for normal shots or for his switch hits, because he just does so many. Practically 50% of his shots in this innings, I guess, would be switch hits from Duckett.
And so over number 8 in both innings, at that point at least, the most productive. None of the power play overs matching that for either side, as Matt Pillans comes into bowl to Chris Nash. First ball of the 9th, that's flicked away down to fine leg, where Josh Poisden fires it back in to the gloves of Johnny Tattersall, and they have to be content with 1. Duckett back on strike is 30, Nash now 27. Both doing so in good time. Partnership worth 56 from 41 deliveries. And the Vikings, well, they love a wicket at this stage just to break the partnership, to peg back that momentum. But not getting it with this delivery, which sees Pillans turned out to mid-wicket, where Lyth fields and Duckett picks up another 1. Duckworth Lewis par scores on the board across there. Of course, they're not going to come into play on a lovely day like this, but just gives you an idea.
It's interesting that Notts are just a couple of runs ahead right now, and yet they're a dozen or so behind where Yorkshire were at the same stage.
Pillans into Nash, short ball, lofted over point. That's going to be 4 runs, is it? Yep. George Hill coming round from a fairly fine third man position, can't get across to it. Just too much width from Matthew Pillans on this occasion. And played with control by Chris Nash, who moves now on to 31 from 22. 77 for 2.
Yeah, of course, Nash was also in the runs up at Durham on Saturday. I'll tell you what he got in a moment or two, perhaps. But like Root and Lyth, who both got 50s yesterday and again today.
Pillans in, Nash pulls this. Now he could go here, or could he go all the way? He has gone the latter. That is 6 over Harry Brook, who came in just a few strides off the mid-wicket boundary and then had to check himself and go back. And a despairing dive sees the ball soar beyond him for 6 runs to Nash. Good over this again for Nottinghamshire. Nash on to 37. 2 left in the over still. 83 for 2.
Should he have got that?
Well, if he'd have stayed and held his position on the edge, he'd have given himself half a chance. Difficult to say exactly, because he was maybe a stride and a half in from the boundary at the point it went beyond him. Short ball again from Pillans, and 6 more this time over mid-wicket, splitting the gap between Brook and Fisher. So 2 successive expensive overs here bowled by Yorkshire. And Nottinghamshire 89 for 2 all of a sudden. Nash on 43. Successive 6s, and still 1 to come in the 9th over.
Just shows what a fine player he is, Chris Nash. I mean, we know all about Duckett. He's got this tag as a one-day player, a very innovative cricketer. Was expecting him to sort of lead the charge, but Nash 43 from 24. He did get 55 on Saturday. Now I've found my notes and looked it up.
All the leg side fields on the edge. George Hill's just been brought up from third man inside the circle, as this next delivery is full from Pillans. And Nash content after his boundary raids to pick up a single to conclude the 9th over then. He's on to 44, and Nottinghamshire 90 for 2 are now in front of Yorkshire's 87 for 2 at the same stage.
Yep, Yorkshire had just lost Adam Lyth. So they're about to start a partnership with Brook and Joe Root. But Chris Nash, second time in consecutive matches, turning in a handy contribution. We're having a proper old break here. We're a proper old hand sanitising and drinks break out there for the players. The 2 umpires get together, Nick Cook and Ian Ramage. When the computer will decide to click on. We'll tell you that the matches that have finished today: Gloucestershire defeated Worcestershire by 22 runs. That's in the central group, and in the north group, Leicestershire have defeated Durham by 30 runs. That at Headingley, of course. Leicestershire 177 for 6, Durham 147 for 8.
Good win for Gloucestershire, that.
Yes, Northants beat Worcestershire as well over the weekend. So Worcestershire, who were winners in 2018, losing finalists last year, lost a couple of matches already. And of course this year it's a much shorter qualifying programme. Only 10 matches. And of course Notts and Yorkshire, the first one was washed away as Root is in to the right-handed Nash, who's clumped it down the ground. Adam Lythe will field and they'll only get one. I say Notts and Yorkshire were washed away on Thursday. I think most of the matches on that first night were washed away, apart from the Durham-Lancashire game. And then lo and behold, since then in the south they've had a couple of ties as well, which just bring you only 1 point as well. Might as well have been washed away. 2 of the first 10 matches were ties, which is a very high percentage. 91 for 2. More aeroplane activity overhead, as you can hear. Don't know if that's our friend Mr. Bielsa. 92 for 2. Nash 45. Duckett 32. Of course, there's been a little bit of cricket history with Tiger Moths going overhead. David Gower and Johnny Morris, right back on that England tour all those years ago. Here's Root to Bolton Nash on 45 down the leg side, clipped away. It was a low full toss and Nash gets a single. I think the aeroplane's gone, so we'll put the effects back.
He has been been known to do a spying mission in the Midlands.
He has indeed, yes. Yes. I'm not sure Notts Outlaws footballing prowess would attract Mr. Bielsa. Root round the wicket to Duckett, drops it gently onto the leg side, but they'll only get the 1. Duckett onto 33 from 25, Nash 46 from 27. Partnership of, sorry, I know it's a load of numbers I'm throwing at you here, but Nash and Duckett have put 78 on from exactly 50 balls, and that's just what was required as Root bowls to Chris Nash. Now if that goes for 4, it will be his half century. Adam Lythe stops it and they get back for 2. It was well, a shell in one way and a bob the other, but Lythe got there. 96 for 2. Nash is on 48. Partnership of 80. Root bowls again to Nash. Low full toss, clipped away. Square on the leg side for a single. So he'll keep strike. And at the halfway stage, Notts Outlaws are 97 for 2. And I've got written down here at the halfway stage, Yorkshire Vikings were 96 for 2. 1 run in it. Yep.
Couldn't be much closer, could it? And this partnership very, very valuable in terms of how Nottinghamshire are going about this chase. It can all change with a wicket or maybe 2 quite quickly, and then somebody else is going to have to come in and continue the momentum from fresh. But at the moment, Yorkshire searching for wickets. That was at least a holding over, if you like, from Joe Root. Went for 7, having seen overs go for 19 and 14 in the previous 2. So managing to pull it back round a little. And parity in the match pretty much. Jordan Thompson is back into the attack to bowl over number 11 then from the pavilion end. 1 over for 11 for him so far. He'd like to keep this one down in single figures, I'm sure. And he's got 3 men set back on the leg side, but Josh Poyson, fine leg, is inside the circle. He's got a sweeper on the offside, not brought into play here. One of the leg side boundary outriders. And the 50 runs to Chris Nash then from 30 delivery. It's been an excellent knock. 39 minutes, including 5 4s and 2 6s. And it has got the Outlaws very much back on track after an ordinary start with the loss of Alex Hales for 4 when the score was on 5 and Joe Clark for 6 when the score was on 16, as Brace said, in those first 11 deliveries of this reply to Yorkshire's 190 all out. Duckett on strike. Thompson coming round the wicket to him. Short ball. And just eased out into the covers where Matthew Fisher will field. And they concede just the 1. Good stuff from Chris Nash, though.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
Played with control out there in the middle, hasn't he? He looked pretty comfortable, and he's a real good striker as well, 50 from 30.
Couldn't get in last year, then they brought him in for the quarter-final, and he got the Man of Match award.
Thompson in again, goes full, and flicked out to mid-wicket. Again, happy to settle for a single on this occasion. This was pretty much the way of things when Yorkshire were batting as well.
100 up.
And 100 on the board in 10.3. Yorkshire 10.4. So again, just shows you how tight this one could be. Jordan Thompson round the wicket. Again, Yorker this time. Dug out nicely by Duckett up to long off, where Root comes in and fields. They get a single.
And again, it's the age-old thing, isn't it? In this position, neck and neck halfway, would you rather have runs on the board, or would you rather be chasing and know what you're chasing? And the captains down the years, some want the safety of the runs on the board,
yep.
and others like to know what they're going for. This really is 50-50 right now.
Yeah.
2 wickets, and it's it's decisively Yorkshire's game.
Thompson in. Big appeal for LBW. It looked pretty close, and he's gone. That is the end of Chris Nash then. LBW to Jordan Thompson for 51. A big wicket for Yorkshire in the context of this game. 41 minutes and 32 deliveries in the end for Chris Nash. And an excellent knock in the context of the contest. But he's got to go, and that's going to just change things slightly now, you feel?
It looked out. I must admit, it looked out. Yeah, I was just saying it can turn in a nutshell. Still players to come. Still some very capable, very proven players. Here's one of them, the Outlaws captain, Dan Christian, who it's a mean ball, and there's still 1 or 2 others. Tom Moore, Stephen Mullaney, Samit Patel. Not sure what order they'll come in, but that's a big blow. Losing Chris Nash then, 51 from 32 balls. That's a very decent effort, but it was full and straight. Nash going across his stumps, trying to clip it away on the leg side, and I fancy it hit him on the boot, or the out step rather than the instep, as he moved across his sticks, and it did look to be fairly plumb.
Yep, and so 1 left in the 11th over. It's bound to just check your momentum to some extent, although Ben Duckett's still going well out there, 35 off 27, and as you say, Dan Christian can certainly strike a good ball if he gets to see 1 or 2, and that's the thing now, because that was such a good partnership. Certainly no question of any element of panic out here for the Outlaws by any stretch of the imagination. He's waiting for this one. He's going to get 4 first ball, because Jordan Thompson misdirects that one, and he's disgusted with himself as well. Just slanting it across down the leg side, and just helped it on its way, did Dan Christian. So 4 to him. End of the 11th over. Yorkshire struck, but still not a bad over for Notts. They made 8 runs from it. They're 105 for 3. Yes, Yorkshire 105 for 2 at the same stage.
Yeah. 85 was put on there between Duckett and Nash in 9 overs. So what's that, 54 balls essentially. 85 in 54. Adam Lythe's going to come back. Howard in Argentina accusing Dave of putting the mockers on Nash. Yeah, me again. 105 for 3. Here's Lythe. 1 over 1 for 7 to the Whitby Warrior as Duckett punches this out as far as Kohler Cadmore. Hales made 4, Clark made 6, Nash just out for 51. Lythe getting the wicket of Alex Hales. He bowls now to Duckett down the leg side. They're asking, they're pleading, they're imploring Ian Ravitch, the umpire, to give a leg side catch. If he didn't hit it, is it not a leg side wide? Or is the umpire perhaps suggesting it brush something else?
Yeah,
but
I suggest so.
It's not going to get a leg side wide. 105 for 3. Those of you watching the live stream may have a view on that. Duckett down on one knee, sweeps it away behind square. He's run quickly. Dan Christian not so quick, because he wants the strike, clearly. Just 1 taken. Earlier in the afternoon, Yorkshire making exactly 190. They were bowled out, the final ball of the 20th over, and that wicket gave Lou Fletcher 5 in the innings. He might have got all 5 in his last 2 overs. 190 then for Yorkshire, with 65 for Joe Root, 53 for Adam Lyth, 39 for Harry Brook, the leading contributors. Jake Ball got 3 wickets as well for Notts, so they did the job between them pretty much. 106 for 3 as Christian hit outside the line. You're not going to get that one, Adam. Christian moving way across his stumps outside the off peg, trying to whip it away to leg. There's one anywhere on the leg side. Christian doesn't usually deal in ones except right at the start of his innings, and he's gone for an expansive mow here outside the off stump and gets nothing on it. Seemingly innocuous. Adam Lyth, every time he comes to Trent Bridge, seems to do something with the ball, and he got a 5 for here last year. 106 for 3. Christian this time does clip it to mid-wicket. Root will field and keep them to 1, I'm sure. 107 for 3. Breaks are on. 107 for 3 after 12.
Good over from Adam Lyth this time. 1 for 9 off his 2. Just looking at the Yorkshire, because things were happening so thick and fast during the late period of Yorkshire's innings, they lost 6 wickets in the last 2 overs and 4 balls of their innings. So if nothing else, not just momentum there, Brace, but also 6 deliveries that didn't go for runs. And when you think about, there was a boundary that dropped whatever, a couple of metres short of going for 6, and those sort of things all add up to that 200 and a little bit that they might have got. Maybe another 15 runs, something like that, possibly 20. Will that prove vital come the end? We'll see. 107 for 3 after 12 then. Josh Poisden back into the attack, this time switching to the pavilion end. It's a full toss first ball. Christian might have put that one over the U Energy stand, but chose to play it with control and picks up a single to Fisher at backward square leg.
See, Nick Corky wasn't sure. He was waving his right arm up and down to get the attention of Ian Ramage. Just wondering, was it above waist height? Was it? And the square leg umpire said no, and I think that was probably the right call. Christian certainly was disappointed to miss out.
So Duckett on strike. George Hill just gets moved slightly finer at third man. There's a man at backward point on the boundary edge. Looks like Harry Brook, as this next delivery is pulled by Ben Duckett in front of square, and he's going to pick up 4 into the shortest boundary on the field. Of course, left-hander and leg spinner. It's a good combination for Ben Duckett with a short boundary on that side of the field, and they'd want to keep Dan Christian probably on strike. It's a tough call between this pair, to be fair, because the ball can disappear to all parts, can't it?
I think Duckett's not seen much of the strike lately. Chris Nash had a long run of seeing most of the bowling, and Duckett, it's a while since he had a boundary.
So 112 for 3. Duckett now on to 40 from 31. What can Poisden produce here? He goes fuller. That's a better delivery. Still helped on its way in the same direction, but they're going to get back for 2 this time rather than 4. Christian has to get the hurry on. Pillen's doing the fielding. 42 now, Ben Duckett. 114 for 4. Yorkshire, by the way, had finished the 12th over on 116 for 2, so not still just at the moment behind. Long way to go still. Poisden in. That's going to go for a maximum, surely, into the Smith-Cooper stand. Yep, Adam Lyth, it was making his way around the boundary, but then started to watch it as it continued skyward beyond his head, and Poisden has been pulled by Duckett for 6. 48 now, Ben Duckett from 33. Notts 120 for 3.
You went early. You said it was 6 as it left the bat. I wasn't so sure there. I just wondered if it got under that a little bit. There was a fielder on the rope initially interested, and then obviously quickly turned to face the seating to see where it landed.
2 to come in the over. Another expensive one. Poisden's gone for 27 off 10 balls here, and he's been pulled by Duckett for 4 more, piercing the gap between mid-wicket and deep backward square leg. Excellent stuff from Ben Duckett, who's made it to 50 from 34 deliveries, 4 4s and 2 6s at a strike rate of a 152.94. Plenty of momentum in that 42 minutes he's been out there, even during periods when he's not seen the ball too often, as Brace says.
17 off this over, and there's still a ball to come. Most expensive of the match, is it? Must be up there. Did we have a 19?
An 18 in the Yorkshire, I think it was. as Duckett pulls this next one to mid-wicket for a single to complete the 13th over. 2 overs for 32 for Josh Poysden, 125 for 3 knots, and they're still just behind where Yorkshire were at the same stage, but only just by 3 runs.
Yeah, they needed a big over somewhere along the line, and that's, as Jonathan says, got them back on track here at Trent Bridge. Cloudy Trent Bridge, but very much enjoying the cricket. Hope you're enjoying the coverage, the live stream, the commentary coming out to you via the BBC Sport website, as always. Glad to have you with us. Just a shame you can't literally be with us here inside the ground, because this is a game that generally produces fireworks when these two meet here. One or two of the Notts lads have said last year's produced one of the best atmospheres inside Trent Bridge they can remember. Here's George Hill, new bowler, into the attack. His first ball clipped away behind square by Duckett, who comes tearing down to this end, but he'd already had the shout of no, or one will do, or I'm on strike cobber, or whatever it was from Dan Christian, who wasn't interested in coming back for a second.
Do they still say that? Cobber. Isn't it all mate?
126 for 3.
I'll take the strike, mate.
The gold shirts of Notts Outlaws are batting, the yellow with the blue piping of Yorkshire. George Hill bowls. Christian's hitting for 6. Wow. Pick up on the leg side, and the poor old seat that took the brunt of that in the Smith Cooper stand is still reverberating to and fro as the ball clattered into it. Clean pick up and swiftly deposited over the ropes by Dan Christian, who's on 12 from 6, 132 for 3.
Tom Kohler-Cavmore gets the ball checked by umpire Ian Ramage, but he says no, get on with it.
4 balls left in the over. Hill to Christian, stands menacingly and clubs it down the ground. He'll only get a single. Isn't that too well? And Adam Lyth, one of the very best fielders in this format, not just in the Yorkshire side, but around the country. 133 for 3. Duckett is on 54. Hill round the wicket, balls to the left-hander, drops it on the leg side. Played one T20 international for England, Ben Duckett, last year against Pakistan down at Cardiff. That as a Notts player. His previous England appearances came in the longer formats when he was with Northants. There's Hill bowling to Christian, full toss, 4 runs. Now then, I think it's okay. The umpires aren't getting too excited. It was just below the waist in their opinion. That's probably right. But he didn't miss out on that, did he? A free hit almost.
Yeah, poor delivery. It was middle and leg, maybe something like that, and just whipped away. Plenty of bottom hand from Dan Christian, flat. And into the boundary.
To complete his first over. He's got that one right up there, and claiming a catch. You're not going to have that. Kind of one bounce, one hand, one bounce. End of the over, 138 for 3. Are they still appealing? Are they going to get the umpires to confer about it? Don't think so. It didn't look. No. Just looked a bump ball to me, but there we go. End of the over, 138 for 3 after 14. So 13 came from the over, and George Hill. I guess he'll be wondering if he's going to get another one, and if he is, it's going to be right at the heart of the action here, because we've got 6 overs left and Notts need 53.
Yeah, and Yorkshire have just got the issue now of who can they trust here to bowl them. They need a couple of particularly tight overs. Joe Root's got 1 left. Matthew Fisher would probably be your go-to man in that respect. He's got 2 left. Adam Lyth still has 2, I think, as well. Matt Pillans and Josh Poysden today both leaking runs. Jordan Thompson is back on, and he's not done badly. He's got a wicket, 2 overs for 19 with that 1 wicket so far. He's going to bowl this, the 14th over then, from the pavilion end left-handed Ben Duckett, 55 not out on strike. That's a good start from Jordan Thompson. It was just held back. Full-length delivery, and Duckett could do no more than play it straight back down the pitch to the bowler.
15th over, I don't know.
There's a 14th.
Yeah,
my apologies.
There are people scoring and doing whatever on our commentary, which must be extremely difficult to do at home.
Thompson round the wicket again. Duckett tries the reverse sweep and got it. If he did get something on it, it was very fine because it went straight through to Johnny Tattersall. So 2 dots in a row. Calling for a couple of tight overs. That's a useful start.
Yep.
Men dispatched all over the place. Boundary outriders at deep backward square, mid-wicket, long on, long off. And on the cover boundary as well, as Thompson's in again. It's full and Duckett turns it to leg. Pillon's in off that mid-wicket boundary to keep them to 1. So ... 1.
Yeah, great start to the over for Yorkshire and for Jordan Thompson.
And again, just to give you an idea, at the end of this over in their innings, Yorkshire were 143 for 2, so still a very even contest. Dan Christian, though, he's hit the ball well so far. 17 off 9 in his paddle this one round. Lovely shot, just fine, and going to get 4 despite the despairing dive of Josh Poisden. The ball was always tempting him on, but always just winning the race. So Jordan Thompson concedes his first boundary of this over. That was excellent enterprise and execution from Dan Christian.
Just gets the over back on track as well. That's 5 from 4 balls now.
So 2 to come, and they've got to that 143 mark that Yorkshire were at the end of the corresponding over with a couple of balls in hand. One of those again from a Vikings perspective here. A wicket would do very nicely. The partnership already worth 42. Thompson over the wicket then to the right-handed Christian, who lofts this, and a wicket could be coming here. Surely it is, and it's taken by Harry Brook at mid-wicket. Just chipped it in the air down Christian. Jordan Thompson going a little bit fuller, roundabout leg stump, and gets his man. Christian gone for 21. Caught Brook, bowled Thompson. And the Outlaws 143 for 4. 1 ball from the end of the 15th over.
Yeah, just when you think perhaps one side is just getting the advantage, then it just tilts again. Notts were just ahead of where Yorkshire were. They were 15 or 16 runs of where Duckworth Lewis said they should be. And then Dan Christian, who can hit a ball so cleanly, just lofted one up, miscued it slightly out onto the leg side, and Harry Brook took the catch. So this is the 15th over, so there are 5 to go after this one. Adam Lythe's bowled 2, Matt Fisher's bowled 2, Joe Root 3, Thompson will have bowled his 3rd when he's finished this one, Pillons has had 2, Poisden has had 2, and Hill has had 1. So Cola Cadmore's got plenty of choices. Harry Brook bowled yesterday as well, you said. We've not seen him, so it can pretty much go in which direction he wants, Cola Cadmore, but whatever call he makes, he's got to get the right one, hasn't he? Sure, yeah. Fisher will have 2 of the remaining 5.
You would very much think so. Jordan Thompson and then to Duckett, because they cross. He's 56 not out, make that 57. He helps this one on its way to Pillons at deep backward square. But a good over from Jordan Thompson, wicket in it. 3 overs now for 25 for him, so conceded just the 6 in the over. And Nottinghamshire with 5 overs remaining, 144 for 4 are just the one in front.
2 lefties out there now. Tom Moores is the new batsman, playing his 45th T20 game for Notts. Gone ahead of Paul Franks, another left-hander of recent vintage. He played 44 T20 games for Notts. 144 for 4. Adam Lythe, 2 overs, 1 for 9. Terrific figures. Normally a little bit of a gamble, I guess, to bring a spinner on this stage of the innings, but not somebody who's been around as long as Adam Lythe. Playing his 19th match for Yorkshire against Notts. This one's swept away behind square by Duckett, gets his 58th run. Is this my over or yours?
It's yours.
Thank you.
After which I'm going to disappear anyway to do my my final update.
145 for 4. So Tom Moores taking guard from umpire Ramage. Came in just before the end on Saturday, but only made 2. Up at Durham, sort of an impact can he make this afternoon? Oh, pushes his first delivery back to Adam Lyth. Don't want too many of those.
Good memories of the red ball game between the two here, Tom Moores.
Yeah, got a century, of course, against the White Rose. 145 for 2. Lyth bowls, worked onto the leg side. He's away, he's up and running, literally running. No, they're not going to come back for 2.
That's a great piece of work, you've got to say, about Adam Lyth. He's made 50 metres to get across to that ball to prevent the second run.
Yeah, this is the bowler, working hard off his own bowling. Protects his own figures, protects his sides figures as well. 146 for 4. So Moores has a single. Duckett really got to get knots home from here on 58. Lyth bowls to him, and again he's gone for a slog sweep. Only going to get a single. Mistiming it. Down to Poisden at short fine. Snooker maximums up there. 147 on the board. There's Lyth. 2 balls left in the 16th. Right arm off spinner bowls and then fields well off his own bowling again to deny Tom Moores.
Looked like he was in the Olympic gymnastics, the way he went after it for a second grab.
Just a great example to the younger guys of commitment, the sort of commitment that's needed. Just throw yourselves about. Stop the ball at all costs. Final ball of the over. Tom Moores, just a single, drives this handsomely. Probably will get 2 here, and he will. It's returned by George Hill, couple to Tom Moores. 149 for 4, so only 5 from that over. Adam Lyth 3 overs, 1 for 14. Undoubtedly he'll get another one. That's good stuff from Adam Lyth. 149 for 4. There are 4 overs left. Notts need 42 to win. Here on BBC Radio Nottingham. BBC leads all the Yorkshire stations. 42 from 4 overs. Of course, Yorkshire just had a little bit of a wobble at the back end, as Jonathan was saying. Lost 6 wickets in the final 2.4 overs. Weren't exactly full of runs either, those last couple of overs. Maybe that's where Notts can just get up and shade it. But they've work to do here. At the same stage, Yorkshire were 4 runs better off. Matt Fisher to bowl the 17th, his 3rd over. Duckett's on strike on 59. Fisher to bowl. It's a low full toss and it's gone for 4. Start to the over for Ben Duckett. Low full toss from Fisher, trying to get it up there in the block hole, but Duckett, short of stature, able just to manipulate it away. Very wristy player, got it on the full and away on the leg side. Duckett onto 63, 153 for 4. Not so effectively a ball behind where Yorkshire were. Yorkshire got 153 after 16 overs. Notts have got there after 16.1. The music continues to play. Now it's stopped. A little bit of traffic noise outside the ground. Otherwise, nice and still as Fisher bowls again to Duckett. Another lowish full toss, but this time he's hit it straight to the fielder at long off. That's Adam Lyth. Long on, I beg your pardon. 154 for 4. Word between the 2 batsmen there, the two lefties having a chat. Where will Notts go next? Stephen Mullaney or Samit Patel? Luke Fletcher, Matt Carter, Jake Ball, if required. Luke Fletcher with a 5 for earlier today with the ball. On 54 for 4. Well, eventually we're ready. There's lots of chatting going on out there about the field placings and everything. Moores is on strike on 3. Blazes that away through the offside for 4. Fine shot from Tom Moores. Really was. Gave that absolutely everything. Second boundary of the over. Moores on to 7. 158 for 4. Next ball, hit away by Moores. 4 more, just past the dive there. Who's that down on the ground? George Hill. Back-to-back boundaries for Moores. On to 9, 160 for 4. From 4 balls in this over. Here comes Fisher again. Oh, that's got through. Moores again throwing the bat outside the off stump. That didn't get anything on it. Precious dot ball. 160 for 4. The end of this over, Yorkshire were 160 for 3. So there's 1 ball to come, and once again they're neck and neck. Absolutely are. Taps his bat, looks around, and then blazes it away, but he's straight to the fielder. That's Jordan Thompson. Keeps him to 1, so Duckett will keep strike. 12 from that over, 161 for 4, so Notts 1 ahead in comparison to where Yorkshire were at the same stage. Just to let you know, in the next over Yorkshire got 13, that was the 18th over, then 11, but only 6 in the last over. So that's just how it sort of panned out. But Notts were losing wickets, as Jonathan said. Those 6 wickets going down in the last 2.4 overs. If Notts can avoid a collapse like that, they should win. I'm not saying they will win, but they should win. If Duckett is there at the end, they should win. But there's a lot of imponderables between now and then. And if Duckworth Lewis is right, Notts just shading it at this stage, but you see how that will just catapult in the other direction if a wicket goes down. It's so tight.
Yep, 10 and over off 3. Matty Pillans has gone for 13 and over off his 2 so far, so he'd want a good one here. Goes without saying. He's reintroduced to the attack at this Radcliffe Road end, then to bowl to the left-handed Duckett, who's in fine form, 64 not out, and gets a single first ball out into the offside. Jordan Thompson round from point to do the fielding. Tom Moores, my apologies. Ben Duckett, who's now on strike.
Yeah, they're similar in stature, aren't they? Across both lefties, and both throwing the bat.
Yeah. Optician's appointment booked. Here is Pillans into Duckett. Gets the delivery down the leg side. He's got it away fine. He's got it away for 4. Poor delivery from Matthew Pillans. Straying down leg. It would have been a wide anyway. But Duckett decides to take the boundary option. And it's a good choice. 68 to him now. 166 for 4. It is, at the moment, looking as though it's going the way of the home side. Again here in a tight one.
Don't you do that. I know what you're doing.
It is, isn't it? You just said so yourself as well. 25 from 16 needed now. 6 wickets left. Not sure what the bookmakers will be making of it at the moment, as Pillans' next delivery is pushed up to long on by Duckett, who gets through for a single. 69 to him now. 167 for 4.
So there's 2 overs after this one. Obviously Pillans could have another one. Fisher almost certainly would have one of them. Thompson's only bowled 3. Adam Lyth, 3 overs for 14.
Could be him. Here is Pillans again, low full toss, going to be 4 more. He can't get it, Matthew Fisher running around at backwards square leg. The boundaries are coming. The runs again coming off Matthew Pillans, who's now gone for 36 off 2 overs and 4 balls. 171 for 4, just 20 needed now from 14. Joe Root having a chat with Tom Kohler-Cadmore. Interesting to hear what that exchange might be away to our right. Pillans, that shuffling run up, low full toss again. This is better. That was angled in at about, angled across him, I should say, around about off stump. And this time Moores hits it straight back to the bowler.
You look at those Yorkshire bowling figures, you know, and Poysden 2 overs, none for 32. Seemed as if Ben Duckett certainly targeted his second over, really got hold of him, didn't he?
Yeah, Pillans turns then, little skip. Comes in again past umpire Ian Ramage. And that is pulled out to mid-wicket for a single. George Hill doing the fielding. Moores doing the batting. 16 to him, 69 to Duckett. End of the 18th. The Outlaws, well, they're 172 for 4. That is one behind where Yorkshire were, but it doesn't feel like they're in deficit, if you like, at this stage.
Yeah, a little incredulous to believe how those 6 wickets went down in the final. 16 balls for Yorkshire.
And that's the difference, isn't it? At the moment, Yorkshire would need to do something similar themselves, at least pick up a couple of wickets to try and stem the flow. It's going to be Matthew Fisher continuing at the pavilion end.
Yeah. That's got to be right, or certainly Fisher's got to bowl one of these two. They might have saved him for the last one, but a tight one here from Fisher will put all the pressure in the world on Notts to the final over. As this one's punched away by Moores. Take that, he says, and not in the Gary Barlow sense. He's absolutely creamed that over and through extra cover for 4. It was over the man there, Kohler Cadmore, and then it raced away. So a good start to the over. 176 for 4. Notts need 15 from 11 to win this match. There's Fisher in again, bowls, hit away, square on the offside. He'll probably get 2 here as top. No, they'll only get 1. Brilliant from Thompson, brilliant. Slid round, got the ball, got it quickly in the air, and they'll take that. Notts need more than 1 a ball. 14 from 10.
Yeah, very much feeling of being in the ascendancy here, though, unless Yorkshire can either come up with a series of dots or a couple of wickets and a couple more dots as well to really apply some pressure, because they're going to be going into the final over needing less than 10 as it looks at the moment. It's Duckett on strike, 69 from 47. What a knock from a Nottinghamshire perspective by him. Fisher coming round the wicket to the left-hander, who flicks it away backward of square, and that's 4 more. Easy as you like. Matthew Fisher getting his angles wrong this time, and he's now gone for 35 himself off 3.5 overs. Reliable as well with the ball so often when he appears for Yorkshire. Ben Duckett then 73 now from 48. 181 for 4, just 10 needed from 9 deliveries. I'll let you take over when they get within half a dozen. That happens in this over as Duckett waits again. Fisher, short ball, pulled, 4 more. 4 more to Ben Duckett. Crashed it away in front of square on the leg side. Matthew Fisher dropping short, and you can't do that on a man who's so well set. 77 now to him, 185 for 4. 6 needed from 8 deliveries.
Just Duckett's second T20 50 for Nottinghamshire. Just got 1 last year. Top score of 64. He's on 77. Next one is hit into the offside, but no run there. Drilled it straight to extra cover. So 6 needed from 7. Notts potentially within 1 blow of defeating the White Rose. Got a bit of a chat going on here. Kohler Cadmore has gone over there. Joe Root also chatting to Matt Fisher, the pair of them. Words of wisdom. Man at deep backward square, brought up inside the ring. Duckett on 77 on strike. Final ball of the 19th over. Fisher bowls. Duckett goes across his crease and slams it down the ground. He'll just get a single, I'm sure, unless Tom Moore's almost in an act of self-sacrifice, comes back for 2 just in case, but they decided not to. No need to really, because Duckett's on strike. So the end of the 19th, 186 for 4. Fisher's finished with figures of 4 overs, 1 for 40. And Duckett on 78 on strike. Notts need 5 from the final over.
Yeah, and it's just, again, his last 2 or 3 overs where Yorkshire lost so many wickets, which were unused deliveries in terms of run scoring, and now firmly behind, if you like, on the board. Only 2 runs at the same stage, but also they lost 3 more wickets and were to lose 3 more to Luke Fletcher's final over. So very much everything pointing towards a Nottinghamshire Outlaws win again here between the 2 sides, but still 5 needed, and wherever there are runs needed, then Yorkshire have got to try and believe that they can do something miraculous to win this one. 5 off the last over. It's going to be bowled by Matthew Pillans, which you'd have to say, given what's gone before, is a little bit of a surprise.
3 overs, none for 37. He's bowling to Ben Duckett. This one's dinked over the keeper, and it'll run down to the ropes for 4, over the keeper's head and into the advertising boards. So Notts can't lose this one. It's 190 for 4 now, and Cola Cadmore will have to bring the fielders in. Nice dink over the keeper. It's just been full of improvised shots. He's on to 82, Ben Duckett. This is a mighty fine blow, because Duckett was at the crease as the semi-final cruelly ended last year on finals day. Needed 1 off the last ball of the match against Worcestershire. Wayne Parnell managing to get one through his defences, though. It was a dot ball. Notts need 1. They've got 5 balls. Here's Pillans to bowl to Duckett on 82. Will this be the moment for Notts? Clipped away on the leg side, and Duckett's won it. It'll go for 4. And with 4 balls remaining, Notts have triumphed here. They've won this one by 6 wickets as Ben Duckett, with a gloriously unbeaten 86, hits the winning runs.
Yeah, super stuff from Ben Duckett. An excellent knock from him. And obviously very, very ably supported as well by that 51 from Chris Nash earlier in the piece. A useful 21 from Dan Christian and from the out batsman Tom Moores. And a partnership then for that 5th wicket, unbeaten partnership of 51 from 27 deliveries between Moores and Duckett. And there's no doubt about it. In the end, the Outlaws very much deserved winners with 4 balls to spare, and Yorkshire will scratch their heads really and wonder how they let a 200 or so get away. That could have made all the difference, couldn't it? Those 6 wickets in the last 2.5 overs or so that Nottinghamshire took, keeping Yorkshire from scoring from those balls and also running through the middle and lower order in fine style. And then some excellent play from Ben Duckett has got the Outlaws across the line, and they will be top of the group at the end of Bank Holiday Monday.
Well, not necessarily. Lancashire could.
Of course.
Lancashire play tonight, play Derbyshire, don't they? And it'll all go down to run rate. If they win that one, they could also go on 5 points. But Notts are on 5 at the moment. Yorkshire are on 3. But Notts have got the better of this one, winning by 6 wickets, 4 balls to spare. Ben Duckett 86 not out. Tom Moores 21 not out. The action at the start of the day revolved around Yorkshire putting runs on the board. 190 they made. Tom Kohler-Cadmore won the toss. He was first out, but that got Lyth and Root together. Both scored half centuries yesterday and both did the same again today, and really threatened to put a huge score on the board. 96 at the halfway stage. But then Notts picked up wickets. Root out for 65, Lyth 53. Harry Brook made 39 from 26 balls, and Will Frame 16, but nothing really from the lower order, blown away by a combination of Jake Ball, who got 3 wickets, and Luke Fletcher, who got 5 wickets for himself. Best figures for Luke Fletcher in T20 cricket. 5 for 43 to bowl the Vikings out for 190. Notts themselves were on the rack early on as they lost Hales and Clark inside the first 11 balls of the reply, but then Chris Nash 51 following up his half century at Durham on Saturday. He's had a good couple of days, and Ben Duckett really put the stand together that swung it towards Notts. Nash out for 51, Dan Christian for 21, but Tom Moores providing able support. He was 21 not out. But Duckett is the star of the day for Nottinghamshire. Fielded absolutely brilliantly, but it's his batting that's going to take centre stage and take the headlines. He's 86 not out from 53 balls, and Notts have won this one. And we've worked together a few times this summer, Jonathan. Unless we meet in the knockout phase of this competition, that'll be it. Good to work with you once again. And Yorkshire, I guess Joe Root's availability is a key thing, but there's lots of other good things there about them, isn't there? And I really do like, every time I see him, I really do like Jordan Thompson.
Yep, he's certainly a player with a future. The other question, I guess, is David Willey. Is he now available, given that you didn't mention his name when you read that news piece out with regard to...
So there we have it. After being set 191 to win, Notts get over the line. 194 for 4 the total in the end. And as you can see, I'm joined by 5-wicket hauler Luke Fletcher.
Hello.
It's got to sound nice.
It does, mate. Yeah, I mean, it was one of them, wasn't it? Really, I've definitely bowled a lot better than that in this format, and not got the wickets. But I'm just pleased we got over the line. Credit goes to Nashi up front there, and then Duckett throughout. Really, I think those two are the lads that have won us this game.
I mean, I don't think you'll mind me saying, but you just said to me there when we were talking that you were nervous.
I was, yeah. You was just surprised me. There's no one here. I think this time last year there was about 14,000, and it was crazy. So. Yeah, I was nervous. Yeah. Yorkshire are a big team and a good side as well. And I wasn't quite sure halfway how it was going to go, but I think when you've got a batting lineup like ours, especially here at Trent Bridge, I suppose we're showing that today with Duckett and Nash, definitely.
I mean, you talked about obviously nobody being here. How was that for you? Did it make a difference? Did it feel weird? We you came out, obviously, we have got music going to try and get that feeling of T20, but how did it feel for you?
I think it's, whenever you get into the game, you're sort of so focused on it. There could be 15,000 here or none, like you said. You're just so focused on what you need to do. So it's normally the warm-ups for me when you see it coming in and everyone's had a few beers, it's a bank holiday and everyone's buzzing, you're like, this is going to be great. But no, yeah, it felt the same, really. Everyone's been completely professional about it, the way they've gone about it. And like I said in an interview the other day, we've got a trophy to win, so we're desperate to do that.
I mean, for you personally, obviously quite a frustrating season so far if you take it overall with the injury. Just getting out there and playing, it must have been nice to do that at Trent Bridge again.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been over a year since I played here.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So yeah, just to be out there with the lads and playing is amazing, and to be involved in games like this, even to just be involved in our team. You look at some of the players in that team. Last year I missed out a bit. I was sort of in and out, and we missed Harry Gurney this game, but that's an opportunity for me and Jake to step up and do well. So it's nice to be in and around the team and playing.
I mean, that is something that Peter Moores always says, isn't it? As sad as it is for somebody to be injured, it gives an opportunity to somebody else.
Oh, exactly. I mean, Harry's been the most consistent performer in this format for us ever since he joined from Leicester. So me and Jake have always been back, his sort of backup bowlers, but now we've got to step up and do that role that he's done so well. So we're both excited for that, and I think we're both chuffed to be consistently playing.
I mean, for you as a bowler, you're known for your death bowling, but also bowling up front as well. If we just take a look at the power play situation, Yorkshire 53 for 1, Notts 50 for 1, and then if we go to 10 overs, Yorkshire were 96 for 2, Notts were 97 for 2. So did it always feel like it was nip and tuck, quite a close game?
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that myself when I sat up there watching at the power play squads. I thought, well, actually, they had the same as us. So, and with our batting lineup, you're going to look up there and there's Patel at number 8. You know what I mean? So Moores, Mulaney, Patel, I'm at 9. Carter 10.
And you've got your pads on as well.
I have got them on. Yeah, there's lads all the way down that can hit sixes. So I think when you certainly in opposition bowling at our team, you slightly get it wrong and you go in the distance. So we proved that today, and it's great that Duckett's often firing the comp, and Nash again up top got another 50. So them two, credit to them, like I said earlier.
I mean, it's something Notts is quite famous for, isn't it? Chasing down a total, and like you say, you mentioned for Duckett there, 86 not out.
Yeah, I mean, we dealt with pressure well. Having playing all our cricket here at Trent Bridge which is statistically the worst to be a bowler in the world. So we've had to adapt to that, and sort of as a bowler, you have to accept that sometimes you're going to go, and all you can do is work hard on your skills and try and execute as well as you can. And we, as a team, we back ourselves to chase anything. Stats over the last 2 or 3 years here have been crazy. So we've definitely got the lineup to chase any score down.
I mean, the thing about T20, I was just talking to one of the ground staff, is it always feels like you never know what is a good score. You know, like we get 190, we need 191 to score. You automatically go, wow, that's a good score. But then you watch what we've just watched, and it's just crazy sometimes to think what you can actually score in T20.
Well, I think the game's gone mad, isn't it, through the years?
It's crazy,
so
though,
crazy.
isn't it?
You only got to look at our last game at Durham away. You come off at Durham, I think their average first innings score there is 155, and that wins you most games. And they got 180, so you're thinking, oh my word.
Yeah.
We knocked them off in 16 overs, so I think the key to it is the way we play. We're an aggressive side. We always look to take the positive option, whether that's with a ball or with a bat, and we back ourselves. That's it. And sometimes you might not come off, but more often than not, you come off because the lineup, like I said, there is full of quality. So I think that's the way to play, especially at this ground.
I mean, just finally for you, because we've got Mr. Duckett waiting in the background there. A day's rest, back onto the T20 bandwagon, shall we say, with an away game against Lancashire.
Yeah, again, a good side, Lancashire, so I don't think I've played a T20 before at Liverpool at Egbert,
yeah.
so that will be interesting. But yeah, good side, but we've got some great momentum, haven't we, really, going in. It's, like I say, you got Nash going runs, Duckett, Clark got 100 the other day, so, you know, we've got everyone in the lineup. Moore's finishing 21 or 14, Christian 9 the runs, so yeah, I mean, it just keeps coming, doesn't it? So I think we're going into that game full of confidence, and we'll look to get a third win.
Well, congratulations on your fifer.
Thanks, Alan.
You can now go and take your pads off.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. If we could just get Mr. Ben Duckett, if you just put that on the floor and sanitise your hands on the way back. Yeah, thank you very much. Man himself, Mr. Ben Duckett. Was you just updating social media there? Just
having a little look. Yeah.
Just having a little look. 86 not out. You must be extremely happy.
Yeah, it's obviously nice to score some runs, but I think main thing is being not out at the end. I think it was important for me to sort of be there at the end, and I just felt like sort of halfway through, if I was there at the end, we'd have a good chance of winning.
I mean, I was just talking to Flex there about power play, very close, halfway. There was only 1 run difference. For you out in the middle, how did it feel? Did it feel nip and tuck? Were you always confident of the total that we needed to chase?
To be honest, felt pretty comfortable throughout. It helps with sort of, we got Samet coming in at 8, Mulaney at 7, Morsley, those guys. So for me, it was, you know, it's quite nice batting there. And I think last year maybe I got caught up a little bit of, you know, the big hitters. I think for me it's sort of, that's the perfect T20, not for me personally. That's how I want to play my cricket, sort of get myself in. But yeah, 10 and over with that short boundary felt pretty comfortable throughout, and as I say, when you've got those guys coming in at the end, I can get them on strike, and yeah.
I mean, I just asked Fletch about the fact that nobody in here. There's used to be 14,500 people in here. We've had thousands of people watching the live stream. How was it for you? Did it feel T20-esque, or can you really notice that there's nobody here?
Oh, no, you notice it's completely different. Obviously, with no atmosphere. The fans here on a Friday night, or even a bank holiday today, it would have been packed out, and it would have been, the atmosphere there at the end would have been high class. So 100% completely different. But you've got to find ways of getting up for it. And to be honest, when I'm batting, it's nice having the crowd going wild as they would have been there at the end. But to be honest, you've got to find a way to get up for it and get over the line.
If we look ahead to, as I was just saying, Lancashire away in a couple of days, the T20s come thick and fast. Fletch just mentioned the word momentum. Is that massive for T20?
Yeah, it's huge, and I think when you're playing the normal T20 Blast, when there's a lot of games, you don't go and win all the games because there's so many. But I think with it being slightly shortened, win as many as you can up front, get that momentum. But yeah, there's plenty of cricket to play, and I think we're pretty comfortable at the minute. I don't think we've necessarily played our perfect game in these 2 games, but we've won pretty convincingly twice, so yeah, things are looking good.
That's something that Dan Christian, the captain, has always said though, isn't it, in previous seasons, is you don't necessarily have to play your best cricket at the start. It's about building up to when it really matters come later on in the competition.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really wins every game and goes on and wins the comp, so it's sort of finding time at the right moments. And I think with Clarkie the other day, Nashi, a couple of 50s there, just players getting in form, and I think with our batting lineup, hopefully 1 or 2 is going to come off, but if we're all hitting the ball well, then and the bowlers were superb today, I think, to keep them to where I thought they were on for 200 plus there. So yeah, everything's looking pretty good.
Cool, well thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on your 86 not out, and good luck against Lancashire on Wednesday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You're free to go.
Do you want that?
You just pop it down on the floor, please. Thank you. So there we have it. Thanks to obviously Luke Fletcher and Ben Duckett for joining us for post-match reaction. Thank you very much if you have watched this live stream, and obviously a fantastic win for the Outlaws. As mentioned previously, an away game is next for Dan Christian's team with the away fixture against Lancashire on Wednesday, but we will be back here on Friday evening, a very T20-esque Friday evening feel for our next game here on Trent Bridge Live. But for me, from everybody here at Trent Bridge Live, thank you very much for watching, and take care, and bye-bye for now.